your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Order, honorable members. Order. Order, order. Order, honorable members. Order, order. Order, honorable members. Chief Whip, order. 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 Chief Whip, order. Take your seat. Take your seat. Take your seat, Chief Whip or Sergeant at Arms. Stand by. Order. Honorable members, good morning. And let me request you, please familiarize yourself with your standing orders and the code of conduct. Honorable members, it will be sad that even before even we sit, there are chaos in this assembly. Honorable members, read your standing orders, code of conduct, and acquaint yourself so that you know the consequences when you are expelled from the House. Honorable members, let me take this opportunity again to say good morning. And this is a special sitting which was duly constituted and as by the request of the majority leader, and of course it was circulated to all the honorable members. So honorable members, I want to welcome you, and clerk, please take us to the order of the business of the day.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next.
Order number 3, messages.
Next.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next.
Order number 5, papers.
Next.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Paul Chirchir, please table your motion. Give notice.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to move the following, to give the following notice of motion. Report on vetting of nominees for the appointment to the offices of the County Executive Committee members and the County Secretary, Head of County Public Service. Submitted pursuant to Article 1792B of the Constitution of Kenya, Section 35, 44 and 58A of the County Government Act number 17 of 2012, Section 4 of the Public Appointments, County Assemblies Approval Act number 5 of 2017, and Standing Order number 199. The Clerk's Chambers, Chirchir County Assembly Building, Chirchir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Paul Chirchir. Honorable members, this morning, the Office of the Clerk received a communication from the leader of the majority requesting for some amendments, and therefore, Honorable Majority, please table your amendments to the motion. Order.
Mr. Speaker, I want to bring to your attention that any report that comes from select committee should be tabled. And as we speak, as per the procedures of business of today, the report of selection committee and appointment has not been tabled. So we should not break the law.
Order, Honorable. Please take your seat.
Before I take my seat, I want to take you to standing order
Please take
194.6
take
so that you confirm for yourself.
Please take your seat. I refer you, honorable member, you are out of order. I refer you to order standing order number 1 on the discretion of the speaker, of the chair. Order, honorable member, please.
Mr. Speaker, yes, I accept. I'm obliged.
I am not giving you time
I'm
to
obliged,
speak.
Mr. Speaker.
Order, honorable Albert. Order. Honorable Paul Chirchir, table the motion. No, clerk. Yes, the honorable majority.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the request that I made before this House is we gave a notice that is required by the standing orders that if a report of appointment is tabled in this House, we should give 2 hours notice of the intention of amendment of the report. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to request that maybe we will do the amendments once the report is read and discussed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Paul Chirchir, now proceed with your motion.
So thank you very much.
Order, honorable Paul, please take your seat. Clerk, after notice of motion, there is one. Yes. Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Next.
Order number 8, motion by Honorable Paul Chirchir.
Honorable Paul Chirchir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Sorry for the itch kidogo, but thank you. I wish to move the following motion, Mr. Speaker, which is the committee on the Chirchir County Assembly, 3rd Assembly, 1st session, or special sitting, Mr. Speaker. The Committee on Appointments. Report on vetting on nominees for the appointment to the offices of the County Executive Committee members and County Secretary, Head of Public Service, submitted pursuant to Article 1792B of the Constitution of Kenya, Section 35, 44, and 58A of the County Government Act number 17 of 2012. Section 4 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act number 5 of 2017 and Standing Order number 199. Clerk's Chambers, Chirchir County Assembly Building, Chirchir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand guided, which I begin from page.
Honorable Paul Chirchir, read the whole report.
All right, thank you, sir. So we'll begin with annexures. Letter of notification. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, sir, I will begin from committee observations on the suitability of the nominee, which is page 44. Lawrence B. Kipkoech, nominee for the Executive Committee member for Education, Culture, Libraries, and Social Services, page 45. General and sector-specific questions to Mr. Lawrence B. Kipkoech, 47. Committee observations on suitability of the nominee, page 50. Mrs. Judith Chepkorir, nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Information, Communication and E-Government, Youth Affairs and Gender Sports, 51. General and sector-specific questions to Mrs. Judith Chirchir, 53. Committee observations on the stability of the nominee, 55. Brian Langat, nominee for the County Executive Member Committee member for Lands, Housing and Physical Planning, 56. General and specific questions to Brian Cheriot Langat, 58. Committee observations to the suitability of the nominee, 60. Engineer Eric Koech, nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Public Works, Roads and Transport, 61. General and sector-specific questions to Engineer Eric Mgati Koech, 63. Committee observations on suitability of the nominee, 65. Brenda Bill B., nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Public Service Management, 66. General and sector-specific questions to Brenda Bill B, 68. Committee observations on the suitability of the nominee, 69. Mr. Bernard B, nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Trade, Industrialization, Innovation, Tourism and Wildlife, 70. General and sector-specific questions to Mr. Bernard B, 72. Committee observations on the suitability of the nominee, 74. Dr. Wesley Bor, PhD, nominee for the position of County Secretary and Head of County Public Service, 75. General and sector-specific questions to Dr. Wesley K. Bor, PhD, 77. Committee observations on the suitability of the nominee, 79. Committee observations, 80. Committee recommendations, 81. There is a table of contents there, list of abbreviations there, annexures there, the preface, establishment and mandate of the committee. Section 4 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act number 5 of 2017 provides that an appointment under Constitution or any other law for which the approval of a county assembly is required shall not be made unless the appointment is approved by the relevant county assembly. 2. Committee on Appointments is established under Standing Order number 199. Standing Order 199 provides that the Committee on Appointments shall consider for approval by the Assembly appointments under Article 179(2) of the Constitution of Kenya, County Executive Committee members. Membership of the committee, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Committee on Appointments was established and approved by the Chirchir County Assembly on 5th October 2022 by the following laid down procedures provided by the Chirchir County Assembly standing orders. The committee members are as follows, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Honorable Dr. Patrick C. Mutai, PhD, Speaker of the County Assembly of Chirchir and Chairperson. 2. The Honorable Vincent Korir, Leader of the Majority Party. 3. The Honorable Cheriot Bate, Member. The Hon.Paul Chirchir, Member. The Honorable Rogon Kiprotich, Member. The Honorable Anthony Huta, Member. The Honorable David Maritim, Member. The Honorable Anita Mibey, Member. The Honorable Dominic Mutai, Member. Mr. Speaker, sir, background of the vetting of nominees. Notification of the nominations. Pursuant to Article 1792B of the Constitution of Kenya, as read together with Section 35 of the County Government Act, Section 4 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act number 5 of 2017, and Standing Order 199, His Excellency the Governor forwarded to the Speaker the following letters. A. Mr. Speaker, letter dated 6th October 2022, reference number KEC/GVN/CA/Vol. 2. Annexure, Mr. Speaker, sir, is at 1A, forwarding the names of the following 10 persons nominated for appointment as County Executive Committee members. Mr. Speaker, sir, 1, Ngetich Leonard Kipkoech, nominee for Finance and Economic Planning. Mr. Speaker, sir, number 2, Daniel Kipkorirop, nominee for Agriculture, Livestock and Cooperatives Management. Mr. Speaker, sir, number 3, Rosemary Chepkiruirop, nominee for Water, Environment, Energy, Forestry and Natural Resources. Number 4, Edna Chepkiruitanui, nominee for Health Services. Number 5, Lawrence B. Kipkoech, nominee Education, Culture, Libraries and Social Services. Number 6, Mr. Speaker, sir, Judith Chepkorir, nominee for Information, Communication and E-Government, Youth Affairs, Gender and Sports. Mr. Speaker, sir, number 7, Cheriot Leonard Bryan, nominee for Lands, Housing and Physical Planning. Mr. Speaker, sir, number 8, Engineer Eric Kimngati Koech, nominee for Public Works, Roads and Transport. Mr. Speaker, sir, Brenda Bill B, nominee for Public Service Management. And number 10, Mr. Speaker, sir, Bernard B, nominee Trade, Industrialization, Innovation, Tourism and Wildlife. Mr. Speaker, sir, B, letter dated 6th October 2022, reference number KEC/GVN/CA/Volume 1. Annexure is at 1B, Mr. Speaker, sir, forwarding the name of Dr. Wesley K. Bor, PhD, for position of County Secretary and Head of Public Service. Mr. Speaker, sir, the notification contained the nominees' curriculum vitae, notification to the Assembly and referral to the Committee on Appointments. Pursuant to the provisions of the Standing Order 45.1, the Speaker verified a communication dated 18th October 2022, informed the House of the Governor's message to the House on nomination of the County Executive Committee members and the County Secretary, Head of County Public Service. Number 7, Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Section 7.1 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act number 5 of 2017 and Standing Order number 199, the names and curriculum vitae were referred to the Committee on Appointments. 2-3 notifications to the public and nominees, Mr. Speaker, sir. Section 7.4 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act provides that the clerk shall notify a candidate of the time and place for the holding of an approval hearing by notice in at least two newspapers of national circulation, and by writing, and by such other form of communication as the clerk may consider appropriate. So, Speaker, sir, Section 7.5 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act, the committee shall, by notice in at least one newspaper of the national circulation, notify the public of the time and place for holding an approval hearing, at least, Mr. Speaker, 7 days prior to the hearing. 10. Pursuant to Section 7.4 and 5 of the Public Appointments and County Assemblies Approval Act, the clerk of the County Assembly placed an advertisement in the print media as on 19, Mr. Speaker, on 19th of October 2022, and the annexure is at 2, inviting the members of the public to submit memorandum by way of written statement on oath, affidavit on the suitability or otherwise of the nominees. The advertisement indicated that the submissions were to be received by Wednesday, 26th October 2022 at 4 p.m. Number 11, the same advertisement invited the nominees to appear before the Committee on Appointments at the Assembly chambers. The nominees were required to bring their original copies of their national identity cards, academic and professional certificates, and other relevant testimonials and clearance certificates from the following institutions: A, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission; B, Kenya Revenue Authority; C, Higher Education Laws Board; D, Criminal Investigation Department and Credit Reference Bureau, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, clearance from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. The clerk, through a resolution of the Committee on Appointments, sought for clearance from the Chief Executive Officer, EACC, via letter dated 24th October 2022. It's annexed in 3A, Mr. Speaker. The same has never been responded to. However, the committee relied on a letter to His Excellency the Governor from the Secretary, EACC, dated 26th October 2022, stipulating that the nominees have not been investigated or any issue by the said institution. And it's annexure 3B, Mr. Speaker, sir. Issues for consideration during the approval hearing, constitutional and statutory requirements. 13, Mr. Speaker, Section 8 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act outlines issues that need to be considered by the committee in relation to nominations. They are as follows. A, the procedure used to arrive at the nominee, including the criteria for the shortlisting of the nominees. Any constitutional or statutory requirements relating to the office in question and the suitability of the nominee for the appointment proposed, having regard to whether the nominee credentials, abilities, experience, and qualities meet the needs of the body to which the nomination, of the needs of the person to which the nomination is made. Procedure for nomination, Mr. Speaker. 14. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Article 1792, His Excellency the Governor is mandated to appoint County Executive Committee members. The said article provides that where the Assembly has more than 30 members, the governor ought to appoint not more than 10 members of the county executive committee members. 15, pursuant to section 6(1) of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval, Act number 5 of 2017, further requires the appointing authority upon nominating a person for appointment to notify the relevant county assembly accordingly. 16, Mr. Speaker, sir, in this regard, pursuant to Article 1792B of the Constitution of Kenya, as read together with Section 35 of the County Governments Act, Section 4 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval, Act number 5 of 2017, and Standing Order number 199, His Excellency the Governor notified the County Assembly of the nomination of the 10 persons for the appointment to the offices of the County Executive Committee members and County Secretary, as well as Head of County Public Service, hence complying with the law. The procedure used to arrive at the nominee, including the criteria for the shortlisting. The committee, being guided by Section 8A of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act, have a right to inquire from the appointing authority on the procedure used to arrive at the nominee, including the criteria for the shortlisting. The committee noted via print media the Secretary of the Selection Panel from the Executive Office of the Governor advertised for the position of the County Executive Committee members and County Secretary, which is Annexure 4, Mr. Speaker, sir. Through a resolution of the committee, the Speaker sought to inquire from His Excellency the Governor on the report by the selection panel, noting that the said selection panel had not been approved by the Assembly as is required by Section 44(2)(c), Mr. Speaker, read together with Section 58A of the County Governments Act 2012, Mr. Speaker, see Annexure 5. The said letter has since not been responded to, Mr. Speaker, sir. About 19, Mr. Speaker, the committee further noted that the law expressly stated that the selection panel only competitively recruits the county secretary, hence the anomaly on the procedure for the recruitment in relation to the legality of the selection panel only applies to the recruitment of the county secretary, Mr. Speaker, sir. See, Mr. Speaker, sir, constitutional and statutory requirements. The Constitution of Kenya 2010, read together with the County Government Act, in addition, gives guidelines, Mr. Speaker, sir, on how to appoint persons to public office, which include, Mr. Speaker, sir, 2/3 gender rule. Mr. Speaker, sir, 21 Article 27(8), Mr. Speaker, sir, of the Constitution of Kenya, that the state shall take legislative and other measures to implement the principle that not more than 2/3 of elective or appointive bodies shall be of the same gender, Mr. Speaker. Further, Section 35(2)(a) provides that the County Assembly shall not approve nominations for appointment to the Executive Committee that do not take into account that not more than 2/3 of either gender serve in the said committee. In this regard, Mr. Speaker, sir, the Governor appointed 4 ladies as County Executive Committee members and therefore complied with the law. Mr. Speaker, sir, on representation of minorities, marginalized groups, and communities, 22, Section 35(2)(b) provides that the County Assembly shall not approve nominations that do not take into account representation of minorities, marginalized groups, and communities. The Governor failed to comply. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Governor failed to comply with this provision as he did not appoint a representative of the minorities and the marginalized groups. He, however, appointed 2 nominees who are youth. Mr. Speaker, sir. 3, Mr. Speaker, sir, community and cultural diversity within the county. 23, Section 35(2)(c), Mr. Speaker, sir, provides that the County Assembly shall not approve nominations that do not take into account community and cultural diversity within the county. The Speaker, sir, the committee noted that the nomination list did not reflect the community and cultural diversity of the county. The Speaker, sir, leadership and integrity. The committee, in determining the suitability of the nominees, was also guided by the provisions on leadership and integrity as outlined under Chapter 6 of the Constitution. In particular, Article 73(2) of the Constitution provides that the guiding principle of leadership and integrity include selection on the basis of personal integrity, competence, and suitability, or election in a free and fair election, Mr. Speaker, sir. Objectivity and impartiality in decision making, and in ensuring that decisions are not influenced by nepotism, favoritism, and other improper motives or corrupt practices. Mr. Speaker, sir, selfless service based solely on the public interest demonstrated by 1, honesty in the execution of the public duties, and 2, Mr. Speaker, sir, the declaration of any personal interest that may conflict with public duties. D, Mr. Speaker, sir, accountability to the public for decisions and actions. And discipline and commitment in service to the people. 25, Mr. Speaker, sir, Article 75 of the Constitution requires that a state officer, whether in public or private life, to behave in a manner that avoids conflict between personal interest and public official duties. This article further prohibits a state officer who has been removed from office under it from holding any other state office, Mr. Speaker, sir. Article 77(1) of the Constitution prohibits a full state officer from participating in any other gainful employment. Mr. Speaker, sir, 27, Article 77(2) of the Constitution prohibits an appointed state officer from holding office in a political party. Article 78 of the Constitution disqualifies persons who are not Kenyan citizens from appointment as state officers. Further, Mr. Speaker, sir, a state officer is barred from holding dual citizenship. In addition, the committee considered Section 10 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, in particular, which provides that a state officer shall, to the best of their ability, carry out the duties of the office efficiently and honestly. B, carry out duties in a transparent and accountable manner. C, keep accurate records and documents relating to the functions of the office. And D, report truthfully on all matters of the organization which they represent. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee noted that all the nominees complied with the provision of Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 on leadership and integrity, that the nominees submitted clearance from EACC, EIR Loans Board, and the police. The commission, Mr. Speaker, number 29, the committee, while conducting the vetting hearings, was guided on the qualifications of the County Executive Committee members as outlined in Section 35(3) of the County Government Act number 17 of 2012, which include the following. A, is a Kenyan citizen. Mr. Speaker, sir, B, is a holder of at least a first degree from a university recognized in Kenya. C, Mr. Speaker, sir, satisfies the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. And D, Mr. Speaker, sir, has knowledge, experience, and a distinguished career of not less than 5 years in the field relevant to the portfolio of the department to which the person is being appointed, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Speaker, sir, number 30, while considering the nomination of the County Secretary and Head of County Public Service, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee was guided by Section 44 and 58A1, Mr. Speaker, sir, of the County Government Act. The qualifications of the County Secretary is as follows. Mr. Speaker, sir, A, is a Kenyan citizen. Mr. Speaker, sir, B, is a holder of at least a first degree from a university recognized in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, C, has at least 10 years relevant professional experience. Mr. Speaker, sir, has at least 5 years experience in a leadership position at senior management level in a public service or private sector organization. And E, Mr. Speaker, sir, meets the requirements of leadership and integrity as prescribed in Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Number 31, Mr. Speaker, the county secretary ought to be competitively sourced by a selection panel as stipulated by Section 44(2)(a), Mr. Speaker, sir, of the County Government Act. The selection panel comprises of the following, Mr. Speaker, sir. A chairperson, not being a public officer. B, Mr. Speaker, sir, one person from the private sector. C, Mr. Speaker, sir, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya who is a member of the Law Society of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, an accountant who is a member of ISPAC, Mr. Speaker, sir. And E, one person from an association representing the workers. Period for consideration of the report. 32, Mr. Speaker, sir. Pursuant to Section 9 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Number 5 of 2017, the committee shall consider a nomination and table a report in the County Assembly for a debate and decision within 21 sitting days from the date on which the committee first sits to consider the nomination. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Committee on Appointments had its first sitting on 16th of October 2022. Mr. Speaker, sir, suitability of the nominees for the proposed appointment having regard to whether the nominees' abilities, Mr. Speaker, sir, experience, Speaker, sir, qualities meet the needs of the portfolio to which the nomination is being made to. Mr. Speaker, sir, 33, suitability of the nominees. The suitability of the nominees was assessed after the scrutiny of nominees' academic credentials, professional training and experience, personal integrity, background and qualities, as well as their performance during the approval hearing conducted on Thursday, 27th October, and Friday, 28th October 2022, Mr. Speaker, sir. 26, review of memoranda from members of the public on the nomination of Chirchir County executive members and county secretary, as well as head of county public service. Mr. Speaker, sir, 34, pursuant to Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017, which provides that any person prior to the approval hearing and by written statement or oath provide the clerk with evidence contesting the suitability of a candidate to hold office to which the candidate has been nominated to. The clerk of the County Assembly placed an advertisement in the Standard newspaper dated 19th October 2022. It is in the Annexure 2, Mr. Speaker, inviting the public to submit memorandum by way of written statements on oath, affidavit, which is also an affidavit, or the suitability or otherwise of the nominees in conformity with Section 710 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act Number 5 of 2017. Mr. Speaker, sir, 35, in this regard, by 4 p.m. on Friday, 26th October 2022, the clerk had received the following memorandum. Memorandum by Collins Yagon Kiblanga. 36. Mr. Collins Yagon Kiblanga, the resident of Chirchir, stated that the nominees were from one ethnic community, the Kalenjin community. That this was against Section 35(1) of the County Government Act of 2012, which provides that, 1, the governor shall, when nominating members of the executive committee, Mr. Speaker, sir, ensure that to the fullest extent possible, the composition of the executive reflects community and cultural diversity of the county, Mr. Speaker, sir. B, Mr. Speaker, sir, take into account the principles of affirmative action as provided for in the Constitution. He further stated, A, that Section 97 of the County Government Act of 2012 provides for the inclusion of minorities and marginalized groups within counties. B, Mr. Speaker, that Chirchir County is one of the devolved units as established in Article 174 of the Constitution and it is a cosmopolitan county with citizens from different ethnic communities working within the county. That approving the said list of nominees will be against the principles of inclusion as enshrined in the Constitution, and the minority communities will be disadvantaged, Mr. Speaker. Observation 37. Contrary to Section 17 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act 2017, the memorandum was not a written statement on oath contesting the suitability of the candidates to hold the office, hence did not meet the required threshold. Furthermore, the complainant served a withdrawal letter stating that he was not the author of the memorandum submitted and that an imposter used his identity card's details. The committee further recommended that the matter be referred to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations for further investigation. The Speaker, sir, 2.6, affidavit by Jackson Kipkoech Langat. Number 38, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Jackson Kipkoech Langat, a resident of Chirchir, and the deponent in the affidavit averred that the selection panel failed to ensure that the composition of the executive committee reflects the community and cultural diversity of the county, thus offending Section 35 and 36 of the County Government Act. He further averred that in a policy paper, Historical Injustice, a complementary indicator for distributing the equalization fund, CRA, or Commission on Revenue Allocation Working Paper number 2012 of 2002, the Commission of Revenue Allocation recognized that historical injustice suffered by various communities in Kenya contributed greatly to exclusion and marginalization, and specifically acknowledged Talai as a minority and a marginalized group. Mr. Speaker, sir, that the list released contained 100% of one group of ethnic community, excluding marginalized Talai minority clan and persons living with disabilities, thus offending the principles of the Constitution on regional balance, inclusivity, and marginalization of communities. The Speaker, sir, that the selection panel was done in a manner that was not transparent and accountable, hence contravening the principles of the Constitution on transparency and accountability, rendering the whole exercise as exercise of selection and nullity in law ab initio. Observation: the affidavit was a written statement on oath and therefore complied with Section 710 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act of 2017, that the petitioner served a withdrawal letter withdrawing the memorandum dated 25th October 2022. The Speaker, sir, 3 affidavit by Rono Kibet Bernard. That's number 40, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Rono Kibet Bernard, a resident of Kericho, and the deponent in the affidavit affirmed that he had information and evidence that the nominees were not recruited as per the law. However, he did not annex the said evidence. He further affirmed that, Mr. Speaker, that he had information which raised weighty legal issues on violation of the Constitution. However, he did not outline the said violations. Mr. Speaker, sir, B, that the governor hoodwinked the general public inviting applications for position of county executive committee members with the knowledge that he had already unpicked his individuals. The petitioner did not attach any evidence to prove the same. See, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the list of nominees did not reflect the ethnic and cultural diversity of the county. That's a violation of the County Government Act and Constitution of Kenya. Dear Mr. Speaker, that there was no vetting process by the selection panel, and the advertisement was meant to hoodwink the public. However, no evidence was adduced to that. Mr. Speaker, sir, E, that applications from qualified and interested Kenyans were not allowed, that the purported advertisement was meant to hoodwink the public. The deponent, however, did not attach any evidence in support of the claim, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, that the resultant recruitment and appointment of the county executive committee members violated Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, as it failed to ensure inclusivity, equality, among other requirements. G, Mr. Speaker, that the recruitment exercise was carried out in contravention of the Constitution of Kenya. However, the deponent did not state with brevity the facts and manner in which the said provisions were violated. The Speaker, sir, observation. The affidavit was a written statement on oath and therefore complied with Section 710 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017. The affidavit was full of mere allegations. The petitioner did not adduce any evidence to prove his allegations. The law stipulates that he who alleges must prove. The committee, however, observed that on the issue of inclusivity of the marginalized communities and cultural diversity was not considered in the nomination of the County Executive Committee members. Members and County Secretary as stipulated in Section 97 and 35(2) of the County Government Act 2012.
Hon.Paul Chirchir, maybe I'll give you 2 minutes health break, please.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, Sergeant at Arms, there is a lot of activity at the public gallery. Can we need, and the members of the public are welcome, but they should minimize moving in and out of the chambers at will. So may I also remind you that this session is being broadcasted live, and therefore we are requesting for order both inside these chambers and even in the public gallery. Thank you very much. When you finish your 2 minutes, Honorable Paul, you can proceed. When you feel that you have taken enough energy, the Sergeant at Arms ensure that you provide some water and more energy drink to the Honorable Paul Chirchir. This is a report that is almost 80 pages and may take us a while. Thank you. Order. Honorable Paul Chirchir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. Approval hearing of the nominees. The committee.
Order, honorable members, let us listen.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee held a sitting on Wednesday, 26th October 2022 to deliberate on the approval hearing and notice the following. The Speaker, sir, 1, that the nominees had not notified the clerk of the County Assembly of their withdrawal from the approval process as outlined by under Section 712 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act number 5 of 2017. 2, Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Article 179, His Excellency the Governor is mandated by law to appoint County Executive Committee members. The said article provides that where the Assembly has more than 30 members, the Governor ought to appoint not more than 10 members of the County Executive Committee members. The number of nominees forwarded by His Excellency the Governor meets the constitutional requirement. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, that despite 2 of the memorandum meeting the statutory requirement, only one by Mr. Rono Kibet Leonard was considered by the committee, and since the other one was withdrawn by the deponent. 4, Mr. Speaker, that the committee would proceed with the vetting of the nominees on 27 and 28 of October 2022. Mr. Speaker, sir, nominee Ngetich Leonard Kipkoech, nominee for the position of County Executive Committee member for Finance and Economic Planning. Mr. Speaker, sir, Ngetich Leonard Kipkoech, the nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Finance and Economic Planning, appeared before the committee on the 27th of October 2022 at 9:30 a.m. and was vetted under oath pursuant to Article 179 of the Constitution, the Public Appointments and County Assemblies Approval Act of 2017, and the County Assembly Standing Orders. The committee noted the following. Mr. Speaker, sir, his date and place of birth. The nominee is a male Kenyan born in 1980 at Kabartegan Village, Chemosot Ward, Bureti Sub-County of Chirchir County. His academic and professional qualifications. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee holds a bachelor's degree in business management from Moi University. Mr. Speaker, sir, his employment record. The nominee is the current head of payroll at the county government of Chirchir, where he is in charge of reviewing and approving all employees' entrance to the payroll system, reviewing personal emoluments, expenditure for completeness, accuracy, and conformance with procedures and regulations, among other duties. He has held that position since 2014. The Speaker, sir, the nominee served as budget analyst and program accountant in charge of research at Cambridge and WRP, Walter Reed, where he was in charge of analyzing monthly project budgeting and accounting reports to maintain expenditure controls and directing the preparation of regular and special budget reports, among other duties. The nominee held this position between 2008 and 2013. The nominee has held other positions since 2003 in various organizations, among them Cambridge, USMRU, and Milling Corporation of Kenya as accounts clerk and assistant program accountant in charge of research. So, Speaker, sir, his honors and awards. The nominee does not have any honors, neither does he have any awards, Mr. Speaker, sir. His income and net worth. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee estimated his net worth to be 17.5 million shillings, comprising of land, houses, cars, and SACCO shares, Mr. Speaker, sir. His professional associations and membership. The nominee, Mr. Speaker, is not a member of any professional association, but indicated that he is aspiring to be a member of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, ISPAC. Whether he has published any writings, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee indicated that he has not published any writings, Mr. Speaker, sir, but his potential conflict of interest. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee declared that he currently does not have any personal or matter that would present a potential conflict of interest should he assume the position of CEC member for Finance and Economic Planning. Should a conflict of interest arise, the nominee stated that he would declare the interest in accordance with the law. Mr. Speaker, sir, on pro bono and charity work, the nominee is involved in charity work through personal donations to children's homes and taking part in community charity programs. On integrity, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee has neither been charged in a court of law or mentioned in any investigatory report or in the last 3 years. He has also never been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for contravention of the provisions of Article 75 of the Constitution. The Speaker, sir, the nominee indicated that he would resign from his position as public officer if approved for the position in accordance with the law. The Speaker, sir, general and sector-specific questions to Ngetich Leonard Kipkoech. The Speaker, sir, the committee posed several questions to the nominee regarding his knowledge of finance and economic planning. The nominee responded as follows. On improvement of own source revenue targets, the Speaker, sir, the nominee acknowledged that own source revenues were not doing very well, Mr. Speaker, sir, and the state of affairs had impacted negatively on service delivery by the county government, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, he noted that he was aware that there was a system in place for managing revenues, which he said he would study to understand why it is not helping the county, Mr. Speaker, sir. He further indicated that if the system is not helpful, he will do away with it and instead create a board to manage the collection of revenue in the county as per the Chirchir County Revenue Management and Administration Act 2019, Mr. Speaker. He further emphasized on the need to adopt automation of revenue collection to seal revenue leaks. The nominee further told the committee that he would push for the approval of the valuation role to increase land rates collection. He further committed to enhance enforcement of revenue collection and also build capacity of the revenue officers. He further informed the committee that he will work closely with the Department of Agriculture and Trade to ensure county investments such as Kabianga Tea Farm and Kipkeli and Coffee Farm are turned around to benefit the county in increasing revenue basket. On revenue leaks, Mr. Speaker, sir, on revenue leaks in border markets such as Sondu and Quarries, the nominee pledged to work with the relevant stakeholders to solve the dispute so that revenue due to Chirchir County is collected. He further committed to come up with measures such as installation of CCTV cameras in quarries so as to seal revenue leakages in quarries. Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. On pending bills, the nominee appreciated that pending bills remained a major issue in the county, with some pending bills dating back to 2015-2016 financial year. Mr. Speaker, sir, he noted that pending bills were as a result of, among other factors, late disbursements of final exchequer funds by the National Treasury, late submission of contractual bills, and works awarded but not invoiced, especially in the last 2 quarters, and unbudgeted projects, Mr. Speaker, sir. The nominee noted that there was a task force in place to assess the eligibility of pending bills and committed to pay all the eligible pending bills in line with the task force recommendation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee further pledged to stick to the law in the procurement of goods, services, works to deal with the problem of pending bills going forward. Mr. Speaker, sir, on sealing of loopholes in procurement, the nominee noted that most challenges in the county occur due to lapses in the procurement process. The Speaker, sir, he pledged to ensure all procurement is done in conformity with the law, noting that procurement done towards the end of the financial year contributes to pending bills. The nominee pledged to bring the anomaly to a stop. He further informed the committee that he would ensure that no tenders are awarded. The Speaker, sir, he further informed the committee that he would ensure that no tenders are awarded without proper documentation and that there is a personal responsibility if such lapses occur. He further committed to ensure that all suppliers are treated equally. The Speaker, sir, on mechanization in multinational tea estates, the nominee, Mr. Speaker, sir, noted that multinationals must agree to do away with mechanization, but pledged to advise the governor on the need for stakeholder engagement to amicably reach an agreeable solution. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee on economic planning. The nominee reiterated the importance of planning in the attainment of the county government goals. He pledged to empower the planning unit, the department, and ensure adherence to the laws on economic planning. He informed the committee that the third generation integrated county development plan, CIDP, was being prepared and will ensure that all county plans conform to the set timelines. Mr. Speaker, sir, on dealing with ballooning wage bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee acknowledged that wage bill in the county was a major challenge, noting that the current expenditure, Mr. Speaker, sir, stood at 41% against 35% capped in the law. To deal with the challenge, the nominee pledged to ensure that on-source revenue collections is enhanced, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, on implementation of the budget in the current financial year, the nominee noted that we are in the second quarter of the financial. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee noted that we are in the second quarter of the financial year and no projects have been rolled out. Mr. Speaker, sir, he pledged to ensure all procurement procedures are allowed under the law to ensure that all budgeted projects are rolled out without further delay. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee observations on the suitability of the nominee. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee, having considered the nominee's curriculum vitae and having had his oral submissions during the approval hearing, made the following observations on the suitability for appointment as County Executive Committee member. A, Mr. Speaker, that in accordance with Article 78(1) and 2 of the Constitution, the nominee is eligible for appointment to state office since he is a Kenyan citizen born in 1980 in Chirchir and does not hold any dual citizenship. Mr. Speaker, sir, B, that the nominee meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained clearance from the following statutory bodies: ESCC, KRA, DCI, CRB, Loans Board. That, C, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee has not been charged in a court of law in the past 3 years. D, Mr. Speaker, that the nominee has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for the contravention of the provisions of Article 75(1), conflict of interest, Article 76, financial probity, Article 77, Mr. Speaker, restriction on activities of state officers, and Article 78(2), dual citizenship of the Constitution. E, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the nominee, Mr. Speaker, demonstrated knowledge, Mr. Speaker, sir, of topical, administrative, and technical issues touching on the position of County Executive Committee member for Finance and Economic Planning, and has the requisite abilities, qualifications, and experience as the Executive Committee member for Finance and Economic Planning. Mr. Speaker, sir, Daniel Chirchir Rob, nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Agriculture, Livestock, and Fisheries. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mr. Daniel Chirchir Rob, the nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Agriculture, Livestock, and Cooperative Management, appeared before the committee on the 27th October 2022 at 12 p.m. and was vetted under oath pursuant to Article 1792 of the Constitution of Kenya, the Public Appointments, County Assemblies Approval Act, and the Chirchir County Assembly Standing Orders. The committee noted the following, Mr. Speaker, sir: his date and place of birth. The nominee is a male Kenyan, born in 1962 in Motaba Village, Kipchebor Ward, Ainamoi Sub-County of Chirchir County. Academic and professional qualifications, Mr. Speaker, sir. The nominee holds a master's degree in education, counseling psychology from Kenyatta University. His employment record, Mr. Speaker, sir: the nominee retired from public service. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee retired from public service in July 2022, where he was acting director of education at the county government of Chirchir, a position he held since 2017. He is currently a small-scale farmer. Mr. Speaker, sir, previously, the nominee worked as a trainer of ECD teachers at Chirchir Disese, where he was in charge of training and supervising ECD teachers, where he worked for 10 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee also worked as a trainer of primary school teachers at Chirchir Teachers Training College for 3 years. The nominee additionally worked for 17 years as a secondary school classroom teacher in various secondary schools. Mr. Speaker, sir, his awards and honors. The nominee indicated that he has several awards for being the best teacher of science and agriculture trainer. Mr. Speaker, sir, his income and net worth. The nominee has estimated his net worth to be 15 million shillings, comprising of 10 acres of coffee, house, cars, and SACCO shares, Mr. Speaker. His professional associations and memberships. The nominee is a member of Teacher Service Commission, TSC. Where he has published writings, Mr. Speaker, the nominee has published books with the following titles: Skill Grow Mathematics for Pre-Primary 1 and 2, Alpha Mathematics for Pre-Primary 1 and 2. His potential conflict of interest. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee declared that he currently does not have any persons or matter that would present a potential conflict of interest should he assume the position of CC, member for Agriculture, Livestock, and Cooperative Management. Should a conflict of interest arise, The nominee stated that he would declare the interest in accordance with the law. On pro bono and charity, Mr. Speaker, charity work, the nominee is a volunteer chairperson of a local coffee cooperative society where he has played a big role in improving the welfare of the members. Mr. Speaker, sir, he is also a member of the community revolving fund that pays for school fees and NHIF contributions to less privileged members of the society. On integrity, Mr. Speaker, the nominee has neither been charged in a court of law nor mentioned in any investigatory report of Parliament, Commission, or County Assembly in the last 3 years. He has also never been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for contravention of the provisions of Article 75 of the Constitution. The nominee also provided clearance certificates from EACC, the police, and CRB, or Credit Reference Bureau. General and sector-specific questions to Daniel Robb. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee posed several questions to the nominee regarding his knowledge of the docket of agriculture, livestock, and cooperative management. The nominee responded as follows. On county agricultural investments, Kabianga Tea Farm and Kipkelion Coffee Farm, the nominee acknowledged that the Speaker, sir, the nominee acknowledged that the two county farms are poorly managed and could do better if well managed, Mr. Speaker, sir. He told the committee that he intends to make the farms as semi-autonomous county government entities run by a board which will be accountable for the performance of the farms. He further noted that there was need to build a factory in the long term to process tea from Kabianga Tea Farm and blend it for export market, Mr. Speaker, sir. He further pledged to engage the services of the tea and coffee research foundations, Mr. Speaker, sir, to improve on the species of crops for further returns. Additionally, committed to invest in value addition for coffee and tea from the farms. On value addition, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee appreciated the need for value addition of farm produce to increase farmers' returns. He committed to complete stall projects such as the sweet potato pack house by first regularizing. Mr. Speaker, sir, he committed to complete stall projects such as the sweet potato pack house by first regularizing the land in which the project is built on. For the Roret Pineapple Plan, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee pledged to ensure that it is operational and have the public own the project by buying shares individually or through cooperatives. On the governor's proposal, Mr. Speaker, sir, to set up a maize milling plant in Londiani for value addition of maize produced in the area. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee proposed that there is need for further consultations with the farmers, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the sustainability of the project. Mr. Speaker, sir, he further proposed that the idea should be implemented through public-private partnership, PPP, Mr. Speaker, sir. He promised to empower the whole agricultural value chain through policies on production, value addition, and marketing, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, on budget absorption, the nominee noted that the development budget in the Department of Agriculture stood at 8% last financial year, which was very poor. The nominee made a commitment to ensure that development budget is observed for benefit of Kericho residents. Mr. Speaker, sir, on cooperatives, the nominee noted cooperatives are key in helping farmers improve their earnings. He noted that most cooperatives are struggling due to poor governance and management structure. The nominee committed to help in reviving cooperative societies in the county and help them to use the model of management used by Songonyet Farmers Cooperative Society, where he serves as the chairperson to ensure that there is prudent management of farmers cooperatives and help them to invest in agro-processing to ensure value addition. Mr. Speaker, sir, on livestock, the nominee noted that the major setback in livestock farming was the high cost of production and flooding of the market with cheap imported livestock products. Mr. Speaker, sir, The nominee emphasized the need to improve livestock production through provision of affordable feeds. He proposed that the idle county land be used to farm livestock feeds to be sold to farmers at subsidized rates. He also committed to implement the governor's manifesto of 30 livestock officers and facilitate them with offices and mobility to assist the farmers at the ward level. Mr. Speaker, sir, on mechanization in tea estates, the nominee noted that a task force was already in place to look into the matter, but emphasized that the need to consult widely on the matter involving all the stakeholders. On GMOs, or genetically modified organisms, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee appreciated the fact that there is ongoing debate on the matter and argued that there was need to engage experts who are well-versed on the issue before introducing the same into our county. On knowledge, experience, and distinguished career to the portfolio has been nominated to. The nominee informed the committee that he had applied for the following positions in order of preference, namely education, Mr. Speaker, culture and libraries, and social service, ICT, youth affairs, and agriculture, livestock, and the position of ICT and e-government, youth affairs, gender, and sports, but nominated for the position of agriculture, livestock, and cooperative management. He told the committee that he was passionate about agriculture. He informed the committee that despite being an educationist, he has a wealth of experience in running of over 15 years experience as chairperson of Songonyet Farmers Cooperative Society. He further informed the committee that he presented a memorandum to the National Assembly Committee on Agriculture, which formed part of the Coffee Act. The Speaker, sir, on other farm products in the county, the nominee noted that there was need to diversify by growing different types of crops to guard against losses occasioned by price fluctuations in the market. He pledged to support sugarcane, fish, potato, and beef farmers through providing policies that promote the farmers. He reiterated the need to ensure that building a potato storage and cooling facilities are captured in the CIDP so that they build to assist farmers in the potato production areas. So, Speaker, sir, committee observations on the suitability of the nominee. The committee, having considered the nominee's curriculum vitae and having had his oral submissions, during the approval hearing, made the following observations on his suitability for appointment as County Executive Committee member. A, that in accordance with Article 78, 1 and 2 of the Constitution, the nominee is eligible for appointment to state office, since he is a Kenyan citizen born in 1988 in Kericho and does not hold dual citizenship. The Speaker, sir, B, that the nominee meets requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained clearance from the following statutory bodies: EACC, KRA, DCI, CRB, and I Loans Board. C, Mr. Speaker, the nominee has not been charged in a court of law in the past 3 years. D, Mr. Speaker, that the nominee has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for the contravention of the provisions of Article 75(1), conflict of interest, Article 76, financial probity, Article 77, restriction on activities of state officers, and Article 78(2), dual citizenship of the Constitution. E, Mr. Speaker, that the nominee demonstrated knowledge of topical administrative and technical issues touching on the position of County Executive Committee member for Agriculture, Livestock, and Cooperative Management, and has the requisite abilities, qualifications, and experience to serve in the position and suitable for the said position. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mrs. Edna Chirchir, nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Health Services. Mrs. Edna Chirchir, the nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Health Services, appeared before the committee on 27 October 2022 at 3:15 p.m. and was vetted under oath pursuant to Article 1792, the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act, and the Kericho County Assembly Standing Orders. The committee noted the following. Date and place of birth. The nominee is a female Kenyan born in 1972 at Kimashan Village, Kadawa Kimugun Ward, Kipkeli and East Sub-County of Kericho County. Academic and professional qualifications. The nominee holds a bachelor's degree in environmental health science, public health from Moi University. Mr. Speaker, sir, our employment record. The nominee is the current sub-county public health officer in Moiben sub-county, was in Kishu County, a position she has held since 2018. She started a career as a public health technician and has risen through the ranks over the years since 1997 to the current position through by different employers, including the Ministry of Health. Cumulatively, the nominee has 25 years experience in public health. Our honors and awards, Mr. Speaker. The nominee indicated that she has no awards, nor does she have any honors. Our income and net worth. The nominee estimated her net worth to be 20 million shillings, comprising of land, houses, and motor vehicles. Our professional associations and memberships, Mr. Speaker. The nominee is a member of the Association of Public Health Officers of Kenya. Published writings, Mr. Speaker. The nominee indicated that she has not published any writings, Mr. Speaker. Her potential conflict of interest. The nominee declared that she currently does not have any persons or matter that would present a potential conflict of interest. Should she assume the position of CEC member for health services, should a conflict of interest arise, the nominee stated that she would declare the interest in accordance with the law. Mr. Speaker, sir, on pro bono and charity work, the nominee indicated that she takes part in charity work by supporting orphans by paying their school fees and providing for their upkeep. She also indicated that she takes part in fundraising at the community level to assist the sick and the needy. On integrity, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee has neither been charged in a court of law nor mentioned in any investigatory report of Parliament, Commission, or County Assembly in the last 3 years. He also has never been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for contravention of the provisions of Article 75 of the Constitution. The nominee also provided clearance certificates from EACC, the police, and CRB Credit Reference Bureau. So, Speaker, sir, general and sector-specific questions to Ms. Edna Chepkirui Tanui. The committee posed several questions to the nominee regarding our knowledge of the docket of health services. So, Speaker, sir, the nominee responded as follows. On challenges facing the health sector, the nominee, Mr. Speaker, sir, enumerated the various challenges affecting delivery of health services in the county and proceeded to propose the solutions that she intends to offer. The nominee identified demoralized workforce in the health sector as a major issue that has been caused by different terms of service for the same cadres of staff and lack of necessary protective supplies for the health workers. So, Speaker, sir, the nominee committed to work with the labor unions and the County Assembly Budget Committee to ensure that staff employed on contract will be absorbed in phases. She further pledged to ensure that all the necessary personal protective supplies are available in all health facilities. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee pledged to invest in the motivation of staff in the health sector by organizing for retreats at the sub-county level and also provide training opportunities to all cadres of staff. The nominee further informed the committee that she will get out of her way to seek donor funds to support the health sector, especially on infrastructural development. She additionally pledged to carry out a situational analysis of the workforce in the health sector, Mr. Speaker, and reorganize and rationalize the staff accordingly. This noted will also help address the issue of operationalizing health facilities that are idle, especially the new ones. Mr. Speaker, sir, on drug shortage in health facilities, the nominee appreciated that there was a major drug shortage in health facilities across the country. She attributed the shortage to leakages in drug supplies to private individuals. To curb the challenge, the Speaker, sir, the nominee pledged to make use of technology to monitor and track drugs from the point of requisition, the final user of the health facilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, she further noted that with proper planning, procurement of drugs would be done in time, and this will ensure that there is constant availability of drugs in hospitals. She further committed to deal decisively with cartels in the health sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, on dealing with labor disputes of the health sector, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee acknowledged that labor disputes were rampant in the health sector, hence affecting service delivery. The nominee noted that labor disputes arise from long-standing issues that remain unresolved. She pledged to have regular consultations with staff in the health sector and union officials to resolve disputes as soon as they arise. The Speaker, sir, on emergency services, the Speaker, sir, the nominee appreciated that the fact that emergency services in the county are not functional. The Speaker, sir, she reiterated her passion in revamping the emergency system in the county by ensuring that the referral system, Mr. Speaker, sir, is reliable with working ambulances, with personnel and oxygen. She regretted that the county has lost many patients due to poor emergency services in the county. The Speaker, sir, on cancer center, the nominee reiterated the importance of cancer center in the county. She explained that the isolation room used for the COVID-19 outbreak will be used as a cancer center, but noted that there was also need to build a new cancer center, even if in a small way, as the isolation center was still important, given that our county is along a major highway and hence prone to diseases such as Ebola, God forbid. Mr. Speaker, sir, on maternal health, the nominee pledged to ensure that all the 155 dispensaries in the county, Mr. Speaker, sir, have at least 2 beds, each for mothers to deliver, complete with personnel and necessary equipment and supplies. Mr. Speaker, sir, on preventive health, the nominee appreciated the fact that prevention is better than cure, noted the community health volunteers did not have a regular salary and depended on stipends if there is a donor. She pledged to employ public health officers to actively engage in preventive measures across our wards and sub-counties, such as checking of markets and food handling facilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, committee observations on the suitability of the nominee. The committee, having considered the nominee's curriculum vitae and having had oral submissions during the approval hearing, made the following observations on her suitability for appointment as County Executive Committee member. Mr. Speaker, sir, A, that in accordance with Article 78(1) and 2 of the Constitution of the nominee is eligible for appointment to the state office since she is a Kenyan citizen born in 1972 in Chirchir and does not hold dual citizenship. B, Mr. Speaker, that the nominee meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained clearance from the following statutory bodies: EACC, KRA, DCI, CRB, and ILONS Board. The Speaker, sir, C, that the nominee has not been charged in a court of law in the past 3 years. So, Speaker, sir, D, that the nominee has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for the contravention of the provisions of Article 751, conflict of interest, Article 76, financial probity, Article 77, restriction on activities of state officers, and Article 78(2), dual citizenship of the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, E, that the nominee demonstrated knowledge of topical administrative and technical issues touching on the position of County Executive Committee member for Health Service, and has the requisite abilities, qualifications, and experience to serve in the position. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mrs. Rosemary Chepkirui-Rob, nominee County Executive Committee member for Water, Environment, Energy, Forestry, and Natural Resources. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mrs. Rosemary Chepkirui-Rob, The nominee for County Executive Committee member for Water, Environment, Energy, Forestry and Natural Resources appeared before the committee on 27 October 2022 at 5:45 p.m., Mr. Speaker, and was vetted under oath pursuant to Article 1792 of the Constitution of Kenya. The Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act and the Chirchir County Assembly Standing Orders. The committee noted the following. Mr. Speaker, sir, date and place of birth. The nominee was born in 1967 in Ainamoi, Chirchir County, but relocated to United States of America when she was a year and 6 months, Mr. Speaker, sir. After a follow-up, the nominee confirmed to be a Kenyan citizen and does not hold dual citizenship. Academic and professional qualifications. The Speaker, sir, the nominee holds a postgraduate diploma in organizational leadership from University of Oxford, Said Business School, England, and a Master of Arts in Anthropology from University of Nairobi. Our employment record, Mr. Speaker, sir. The nominee currently supports grants making in the World Bank Trust-funded Global Partnership for Social Accountability, a position she has held from 2020. Previously, she chaired the Water and Sanitation Committee of the Board of the Lake Victoria South Water Works Development Agency from 2019 to 2021. She also worked as a lecturer at Milken School of Public Health, George Washington University from 2017 to 2022. She worked at Caribbean Development Bank as water sanitation and gender consultant from 2015 to 2019, where she was tasked with reviewing of e-learning course on governance and sanitation provided for 35 technical and management level staff responsible for sanitation in Haiti's National Directorate of Water Supply and Sanitation. The nominee also worked at World Bank as a water and social development consultant from 2017 to 2019. She also worked at World Bank Group, Water Global Practice, Washington, D.C., USA, as a water and sanitation specialist and gender from 2013 to 2017. Worked at World Bank, Nairobi County Office as water and sanitation specialist from 2005 to 2013. Program Director at Margin of Fanisi from 2003 to 2005. Founding Team Leader of Sustainable Aid in Africa, SANA. International from 2001 to 2003. And BKH Consulting Engineers as Environmental Sanitation Advisor from 1993 to 2001. Our honors and awards, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee has had 3 awards. Winner of 2012 Innovation Award for Magi Voice. Mr. Speaker, sir, joint winner in 2013 Innovation Award for the Gender Market Analyst and Citizen Engagement Platform, GEMAP, World Bank. Mr. Speaker, sir, People's First Award on Social Accountability and SDV Beneficiary Feedback Mechanism. Mr. Speaker, sir, our income and net worth. The nominee established that our net worth to Kenya shillings 90 million, shillings comprising of land, houses, and motor vehicles, professional associations and memberships. The nominee is a member of International Water Association. Published writings. The nominee has published 10 journals and 5 blogs among the following. Smart Lesson, Truly Teaming, Partnering to Integrate Gender in Kenya's Water Sector, November 2011. Gender in Water and Sanitation, Working Paper on Global Good Practices and Checklists, December 2010. Steps for the implementation of Nyalenda Delegated Management Model, Manual on Extending Services to Urban Poor, January 2012. How countries can improve access to water for women. A potential conflict of interest. The Speaker, sir, the nominee declared that She currently does not have any personal or matter that would present a potential conflict of interest should she assume the position of CEC member for water, environment, energy, forestry, and natural resources. Should a conflict of interest arise, the nominee stated that she would declare the interest in accordance with the law. On pro bono and charity work, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee indicated that she pays fees for needy children. On integrity, Mr. Speaker, the nominee has neither been charged in a court of law nor mentioned in any investigatory report of Parliament, Commission, or County Assembly in the last 3 years. She also has never been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for contravention of the provisions of Article 75 of the Constitution. The nominee also provided clearance certificates from EACC, the police, and CRB. General and sector-specific questions to Mrs. Rosemary Chirchir. The committee posed several questions to the nominee regarding her knowledge of the docket of the water, environment, energy, forestry, and natural resources. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee responded as follows. On measures to increase access to safe and clean water, the nominee acknowledged that the fact that the access to clean and safe water to Chirchir residents was still far from being achieved, despite the county being endowed with many water resources. To address the challenge, the nominee noted that she will carry out a baseline survey of the current status of water access with a view of finding an effective and efficient way of provision of safe and clean water to all households. She noted that the results of the baseline survey would help her in identifying water resources that needs rehabilitation or expansion to cover more households. The nominee pledged to use the results of the baseline survey to come up with a water master plan that will prioritize completion of stalled water projects and start new ones that targets to achieve high coverage of the growing population. She further informed the committee that she intends to engage donors by coming up with strong proposals that are detailed and with clear feasibility studies to seek for funding of water projects across the county. Additionally, the nominee intends to work closely with other governmental and non-governmental stakeholders dealing with water projects so as to harmonize activities to avoid overlaps and duplication of efforts. Mr. Speaker, sir, on revamping of Kewasco. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee acknowledged the fact that Chirchir Water and Sanitation Company, Kewasco, was facing major challenges in provision of water to county residents. She noted that the water company had dropped from position 25, Mr. Speaker, sir, to position number 35 out of 95 water companies across the county. She attributed this to poor governance that led to a decision to include provision of water by the company to the rural sector that failed to break even. Mr. Speaker, sir, she further noted that a dilapidated and aging water distribution network has occasioned leaks that lead to commercial and technical losses, Mr. Speaker, sir. To address the challenges, the nominee pledged to identify a partner to provide technical assistance to the company to ensure that it is turned around. She told the committee that she will prioritize provision of support to the water company by building capacity of the company staff and ensuring that all revenue is collected and enforce accountability of the staff working in the company. Mr. Speaker, sir, she further pledged to ensure that the water distribution network is modernized to avoid system losses and deal decisively with the challenges of illegal water connection. Mr. Speaker, sir, on conflict between Chirchir and Bomet. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee informed the committee that she was aware of the conflict between Chirchir and Bomet that has affected provision of water to the residents. The nominee pledged to address the matter by use of water diplomacy framework and come up with a joint entity to manage water provision and seek for ways to reduce the cost of electricity. Mr. Speaker, sir, on solid waste management, the nominee pledged to put in place robust and comprehensive measures on management of solid waste. She informed the committee that she intends to work with the private sector on a public-private partnership arrangements in solid waste management and urban areas beautification projects. Mr. Speaker, sir, on whether the nominee understands the public sector The nominee informed the committee that despite having worked with the World Bank and the national and the non-governmental organizations, NGOs, throughout her work life, she understands the workings of government since all the projects she was involved in were implemented in partnership with government agencies. She further informed the committee that she has studied the laws relating to procurement and also devolved units. She pledged to ensure transparency and accountability in running the department. Mr. Speaker, sir, on drilling rigs and management of boreholes, the nominee noted that there was need to ensure proper management of county drilling rigs to make them sustainable, Mr. Speaker. She pledged to put in place measures to ensure that drilling rigs are maintained and also that county boreholes are run in a sustainable manner by privatizing them. She further pledged to use alternative sources of energy, such as solar, to power the boreholes to avoid high electricity bills. Additionally, the nominee told the committee that she intends to use technology to monitor water projects. The Speaker, sir, on climate change and environmental protection, the nominee pledged to set aside resources to mitigate against climate change and also come up with policies on environment protection. The Speaker, sir, committee observations on the suitability of the nominee. The committee, having considered the nominee's curriculum vitae and having had our oral submissions during the approval hearing, made the following observations on her suitability for appointment as county executive committee members. That in accordance with 78(1) and 2 of the Constitution, the nominee is eligible for appointment to state office since he is a Kenyan citizen born in 1967 in Chirchir and has not hold a dual citizenship. B, Mr. Speaker, that the nominee meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained clearance from the following statutory bodies: EACC, KRA, DCI, CRB, and Higher Loans Board. That the nominee, Mr. Speaker, C, that the nominee has not been charged in a court of law in the past 3 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, D, that the nominee has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for the contravention of the provisions of 75(1), conflict of interest, Article 76, financial probity, Article 77, the restriction on activities of state officers, and Article 78(2), dual citizenship of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, that the nominee demonstrated knowledge of topical administrative and technical issues touching on the position of County Executive Committee member for water, environment, energy, forest, and natural resources, and has the requisite abilities, qualification, and experience to serve in the positions and suitable for the said position. Mr. Speaker, sir, Lawrence B. Kipkoech, nominee for the County Executive Member for Education, Culture, Libraries, and Social Services. Mr. Speaker, sir, Lawrence B. Kipkoech, the nominee for County Executive Committee Member for Education, Culture, Libraries, and Social Services, appeared before the committee on 27 October 2022 at 7:55 p.m. and was vetted under oath pursuant to Article 1792 of the Constitution of Kenya, Public Appointments, County Assemblies Approval Act, and the Kericho County Assembly Standing Orders. The committee noted the following: date of birth, date and place of birth. The Speaker, sir, the nominee was born in 1972 in Soliat Ward, Soin Sigawet Sub-County. Academic and professional qualifications. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee holds a bachelor's degree in education from Kampala International University. Mr. Speaker, sir, his employment record. The nominee is currently working at Kongeren Primary School as a deputy head teacher. He previously worked at Motero Primary School, Soliat Primary School, Kondamet Primary School, and Jemamul Primary Schools as a classroom teacher. The nominee has cumulative work experience of 26 years. On honors and awards, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee didn't have any honors nor any awards, Mr. Speaker, sir. His income and net worth, Mr. Speaker, sir. The nominee estimated his net worth to be 10.4 million shillings, comprising of assets, shares, motor vehicle, and a house. His professional association and membership. The nominee stated that he is a member of Teacher Service Commission. Published writing to the Speaker, sir, the nominee didn't have any published writing. On potential conflict of interest, the nominee declared that he currently does not have any persons or matter that would present a potential conflict of interest. Should he assume the position of CEC member of education, culture, libraries, and social services, should a conflict of interest arise, the nominee stated that he would declare the interest in accordance with the law. Mr. Speaker, sir, on pro bono and charity work, the nominee stated that he is actively involved in community fundraisings and charity work. Mr. Speaker, sir, on integrity, the nominee has neither been charged in a court of law nor mentioned in an investigatory report of Parliament or Commission or County Assembly in the last 3 years. He has also never been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for contravention of the provisions of Article 75 of the Constitution. The nominee also provided clearance certificates from EACC, the police, and Credit Reference Bureau. General and sector-specific questions to Mr. Lawrence B. Keep quiet. The committee posed several questions to the nominee regarding his knowledge of the docket of education, culture, libraries, and social services. The nominee responded as follows. The Speaker, sir, on management of early childhood development education centers, the nominee, the Speaker, sir, acknowledged the fact that there were challenges in the management of ECD centers, especially on the supervision of the teachers. The nominee pledged to ensure that monitors are employed in every ward to supervise the ECD teachers, noting that currently the teachers are supervised by primary school heads. The nominee further informed the committee that he intends to introduce a feeding program to ECD centers where pupils are provided with food or milk as incentive to improve enrollment. He, however, did not demonstrate where funds for the program will be sourced. The Speaker, sir, on substandard ECD classrooms, the nominee promised to crack down on contractors who build substandard ECD classrooms and enforce personal responsibility of the departmental staff who give completion certificates to poorly constructed structures. Mr. Speaker, sir, on confirmation of ECD teachers and implementation of their scheme of service, the nominee informed the committee that there was need to confirm the ECD teachers to permanent and pensionable terms. He noted that this will be done in phases due to budgetary constraints and will rely on the reports from primary school heads to determine the order in which they are absorbed. The nominee could not, however, clearly explain how the exercise will be done in a fair way, since he confirmed that the returns and data from ECD centers have not been done to the sub-county as required, as no one was available to collect the same from the head teachers. He further pledged to ensure that all ECD teachers enter the scheme of service and that it is truly implemented, but was unable to explain to the committee the contents of the scheme of service. On village polytechnics, the Speaker, sir, the nominee noted that the county has 12 operational village polytechnics. He identified competition from technical training institutes as the major challenge facing the institutions, since they offer quality courses among other incentives that are not available in village polytechnics. He further noted that trainers in village polytechnics are not properly trained. The nominee pledged to lobby for more budgetary allocation to the village polytechnics to address the challenges facing the institution. Mr. Speaker, sir, on libraries, the nominee informed the committee that he is aware that there are 4 libraries in the county. He explained that he knows the one in Chirchir town, but will look for more information regarding the rest. He further noted since the library's function was recently developed, he would acquaint himself with the matter with a view of refurbishing and modernizing the facilities. On vocational training centers, Mr. Speaker, the nominee informed the committee that there were 12 vocational training centers in the county and one incomplete one. He however lacked an understanding of the specialities of the VTCs, but promised to acquaint himself with their specialities and ensure that they are properly funded so as to have adequate materials and trained trainers. The nominee further committed to implement the government's manifesto on sponsorship of 100 youths in every ward in the vocational training centers to encourage uptake. On bursaries, Mr. Speaker, the nominee acknowledged the fact that there was a challenge of unfair bursary awards and promised to ensure that this is reversed by cascading the identification of needy students down to the sub-location level. He further informed the committee that he was aware that the term of bursaries committees had lapsed and pledged to ensure new committees are speedily constituted. On county legislation relating to education, the nominee could not identify county legislation relating to education, but promised to acquaint himself with the legislations going forward. On the performance of the school where he currently serves as deputy head teacher, the nominee at first informed the committee that he did not have any information regarding the performance of his school. But when he was hard pressed, he informed the committee that the mean score was 265 marks. The nominee was asked to provide official results for the school that showed a mean score of 256 marks. Mr. Speaker, sir, committee observations on the suitability of the nominee. The committee, having considered the nominee's curriculum vitae and having had his oral submissions during approval hearing, made the following observations on his suitability for appointment as County Executive Committee member. A, Mr. Speaker, that in accordance with Article 78(1) and 2 of the Constitution, the nominee is eligible for appointment to state office since he is a Kenyan citizen born in 1972 in Chirchir and does not hold dual citizenship. So Speaker, sir, B, that the nominee meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained clearance from the following statutory bodies: ESCC, KRA, DCI, CRB, and ILON's board. That the nominee has not been charged in a court of law in the past 3 years. That the nominee has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for the contribution of the provisions of Article 75(1). Conflict of interest, Article 76, financial probity, Article 77, restriction on activities of state officers, and Article 78, 2, dual citizenship of the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, that the nominee did not demonstrate. The nominee indicated that he would resign from his position as public officer if approved for the position in accordance with the law. Mr. Speaker, sir, general and sector-specific questions on the issue of land grabbing. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee stated that he shall form a technical committee to identify all grabbed parcels of land in Kericho County, who will also look into regularization of all county land and developments. He said that the state is required to work hand in hand with the National Land Commission and be in conformity with laws, all the laws, while carrying out their mandates. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the issue of trespass of land by the neighboring counties. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee acknowledged there is an outcry by the people of Kericho on the boundary trespass and conflict with neighboring counties, and he undertook to work closely with the respective County Executive Committee members from the neighboring counties to resolve the issue, and the National Land Commission and Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. He also noted with concern that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission ought to be engaged in this conflict resolution. The Speaker, sir, on the issue of county housing and the President's promise on housing, the nominee informed the committee on various estates that belong to the county that require renovation and the need to bring down the old houses, and told the committee that he will ensure that the housing plan that will be implemented by the national government is equally distributed in the county. The Speaker, sir, on functionality of the municipal boards, the nominee informed the members of the challenges the boards was informed. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee informed the members of the challenges the boards was insufficient staff, budget, and incomplete transfer of functions to the boards. The nominee required that once approved, the Assembly should consider giving boards more funding for them to employ more staff and perform optimally. Mr. Speaker, sir, identify more land for expansion in Chirchir town and land rates, multinationals. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee assured the members that he shall work closely with multinationals to ensure there is survey of the land. The nominee assured the members of ensuring the updated valuation role is applied when it comes to collection of land rates, since the multinational only contribute bigger resources. Mr. Speaker, sir, on construction of the County Assembly's chambers, the nominee acknowledged that the chambers currently used are very old buildings that were utilized during the defunct county council era, and that he will make it one of the priorities to allocate land for construction of modernized county assembly offices and chambers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, committee observations on the suitability of the nominee. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee, having considered the nominee's curriculum vitae and having had his oral submissions during the approval hearing, made the following observations in his suitability for appointment as County Executive Committee member. A, that in accordance with Article 78(1) and 2 of the Constitution, the nominee is eligible for appointment to state office, since he is a Kenyan citizen born in 1988 in Chirchir and does not hold dual citizenship. B, Mr. Speaker, that the nominee meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained clearance from the following statutory bodies: ESCC, KRA, DCI, CRB, and ILO's board. That the nominee has not been charged in a court of law in the past 3 years, Mr. Speaker. D, that the nominee has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for the contravention of the provisions of Article 75(1), conflict of interest, Article 76, financial profit, Article 77, restriction on activities of state officers, and Article 78(2) on dual citizenship of the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, that the nominee demonstrated knowledge of topical and administrative touching on lands, housing, and physical planning, and has the requisite abilities, qualifications, and experience to serve as the County Executive Committee in charge of lands, housing, and physical planning, hence suitable to serve in the said position.
Hon.Paul, you can take a break of 2 minutes.
Hon.Paul Chirchir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, Eric Kipkoech, Engineer Eric Kipkoech, nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Public Works, Roads and Transport. Mr. Speaker, sir, Engineer Eric Kipkoech, the nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Public Works, Roads and Transport, 11:45 p.m. and was vetted under oath pursuant to Article 1 of Kenya, the Public Appointments, County Assemblies Approval Act, and the County Assembly Standing Orders. The date and place of birth. The nominee was born in 1987 in Sigawet 1, Soin, Sigawet Sub-County, Chirchir County. Mr. Speaker, sir, his academic and professional qualifications. The nominee holds a bachelor's degree in water engineering from Kenyatta University. Mr. Speaker, sir, his employment record. The nominee worked as county resident monitor at Water Sector Trust Fund from January 2019 to August 2022, and as project engineer at Kewasco from August 2014 to March 2019. He further mentioned that he did his internship at Sana International, Kisumu, where he was tasked with implementation of school wash project in Nyando district. So, Speaker, sir, his honors and awards. The nominee didn't have any honors nor awards. So, Speaker, sir, his income and net worth. The nominee estimated his net worth to be 720,000 shillings, comprising of a parcel of land, 2 motorcycles, and a dairy cow, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, sir, his professional association and membership. The nominee stated he is a member of Engineers Board of Kenya. Published writings, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee didn't have any published writings. Potential conflict of interest. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee didn't have potential conflict of interest. The nominee declared that he currently does not have any persons or matter that would present a potential conflict of interest. Should he assume the position of CECM member for Public Works, Roads and Transport, should a conflict of interest arise, the nominee stated that he would declare the interest in accordance with the law. On pro bono and charity work. So, Speaker, sir, the nominee stated that he is currently sponsoring 2 students in their education. On integrity, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee has neither been charged in a court of law nor mentioned in any investigatory report of Parliament, Commission, or County Assembly in the last 3 years. So, Speaker, sir, he has also never been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for contravention of the provisions of Article 75 of the Constitution. The nominee also provided clearance certificates from EACC, the police, and CRB Credit Reference Bureau. Mr. Speaker, sir, general and sector-specific questions to Engineer Eric Kipkoech. The committee posed several questions to the nominee regarding his knowledge of the docket of Public Works, Roads and Transport. The nominee responded as follows, Mr. Speaker. So, on pending bills, the nominee acknowledged that pending bills was a major challenge in Chirchir County, especially for works in the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport. He attributed the problem to low revenue collection and failure to follow procurement laws when procuring the roads works. To address this challenge, the nominee pledged to ensure that procurement laws are strictly followed and no project is started without proper documentation. So, Speaker, sir, on opening, repair, and maintenance of county road network, the nominee acknowledged that there is no strategy in place relating to the procedure for opening, repair, and maintenance of road network in the county. To address this, the nominee pledged to map the county roads network and digitize them so that at the click of a button, one can get details on the status of the road, including its length. He further informed the committee that if approved, he intends to develop a policy on road maintenance where local youth would be engaged to maintain the existing roads so that they last longer, while at the same time solving the problem of unemployment among the youth. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee pledged to develop a policy to have a robust monitoring and evaluation team in the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport. Mr. Speaker, sir, on shortage of personnel and mobility in the department, the nominee informed the committee that he was aware that there was shortage of key staff in the department, including quantity surveyors and technicians. This, he noted, has affected the quality of county roads and buildings. The nominee pledged to lobby the county assembly's budget committee to allocate more resources for hiring of all the key personnel and provide them with motor vehicles. Mr. Speaker, sir, on stormwater management, the nominee acknowledged the fact that stormwater management was still a challenge in all towns in the county. The nominee, if approved, pledged to address the challenge by working closely with his counterparts in the national government in ensuring that drainages are opened up across the county. Mr. Speaker, sir, on project implementation in the county, the nominee, if approved, pledged to embrace stakeholder consultations in project planning, implementation, and management to avoid wastage of public resources on projects that are not viable, and also mitigate against conflict during project implementation. On poorly done works, the nominee noted that contracts have defect lapse period where the contractor is bound to carry out repairs and correction of defects detected when the period is in force. So, Speaker, sir, the nominee pledged to ensure that the provision is enforced strictly. He further stated that he would enforce personal responsibilities on officers who give completion certificates on defective works. The nominee noted the county had 2 graders, 2 tippers, and a backhoe that are functional, which he committed to use in infrastructural development in the county. Mr. Speaker, sir, on framework contracting, the nominee was asked to comment on the framework contracting as a method of procurement. The nominee explained that this method had many advantages and would embrace it, but ensure strict adherence to the rule of law, noting that the method was fast and efficient. He emphasized that the method was best in procurement of emergency works. Mr. Speaker, sir, on street lighting, the nominee stated if approved, he will opt for solar-powered street lightings, noting the electricity-powered street lights are expensive and unsustainable. Mr. Speaker, sir, on how his training and experience relate to the docket, the nominee explained to the committee that despite being a water engineer, he has interacted with public civil works while implementing water and sanitation projects. He further explained that during his training at the university, he covered units covered by civil and structural engineers, such as foundations engineering, survey, soil mechanics, project management, engineering materials, and hydraulics, among others. The Speaker, sir, committee observations on the suitability of the nominee. The Speaker, sir, the committee, having considered the nominee's curriculum vitae and having had his oral submissions during the approval hearing, made the following observations on his suitability for appointment as county executive committee members. The Speaker, sir, A, ESCC, KRA, DCI, CRB, and Higher Loans Board, Mr. Speaker, that the nominee has not been charged in a court of law in the past 3 years. D, Mr. Speaker, that the nominee has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for the contravention of the provisions of Article 75(1), conflict of interest, Article 76, financial probity, Article 77, restriction on activities of state officers, and Article 78, dual citizenship of the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, that the nominee demonstrated knowledge of topical administrative and technical issues touching on the position of County Executive Committee member for Public Works, Roads, and Transport, and has the requisite abilities, qualifications, and experience to serve in the position hence suitable. Mr. Speaker, sir, Brenda Bill B., nominee for County Executive Committee member for Public Service Management, PSM. Mr. Speaker, sir, Brenda Bill B., the nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Public Service Management, appeared before the committee on 28 October 2022 at 1:15 p.m. and was vetted under oath pursuant to Article 179(2)(b), the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act, and the Chirchir County Assembly Standing Orders. So, Speaker, sir, the committee noted the following: her date and place of birth. The nominee is a female Kenyan born in 1982 at Keongo, Kapgugerwet Ward, in Amoy Sub-County of Chirchir County. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee holds a Bachelor of Arts and Political Science degree from Makerere University. Mr. Speaker, sir, our employment record. The nominee was a human resource generalist at Project Rio Limited. Her roles in the said company was to assist in the structuring of human resource operations and the commencement of recruitment and operations. The nominee was also a director at Lasoy Academy, where she was responsible in recruiting and supervising the teaching and non-teaching staff, ensuring quality assurance of teaching, learning, and assessment processes. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee was also a member of the First County Assembly. She participated in advocating for gender issues by training women groups and ensured bills placed before the House are gender mainstreamed. So, Speaker, sir, she was also a member of the Labour and Social Service Committee. On honors and awards, Mr. Speaker, the nominee does not have any awards, nor any honors, nor any awards. Mr. Speaker, sir, income and net worth. The nominee estimated her net worth to be 17 million shillings, comprising of 4 acres of land, a house, dairy unit, kindergarten, a parcel of land with a fully equipped bakery. So, Speaker, sir, professional associations and memberships. The nominee is not a member of any professional body. Published writings. The nominee has not published any writings. On conflict of interest, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee declared that she currently does not have any persons or matter that would present a potential conflict of interest should she assume the position of CEC member for Public Service Management. Should a conflict of interest arise, the nominee stated that she would declare interest in accordance with the law. On pro bono and charity, Mr. Speaker, charity work, the nominee is involved. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee stated that the sub-county administrators and ward administrative officers are not able to perform well due to the fact that they do not have officers and are not mobile, as not able to supervise sub-county and ward projects. She assured support the said officers with whatever is required for them to perform optimally. On confirmation of the youth that were trained at Chepwagan Youth Polytechnic, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee recommended the sealing of all revenue loopholes and identify ways of raising revenue. This way, the county will have more revenue to employ the youth without affecting the limitation of the wage bill. The Speaker, sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, having considered the nominee's curriculum vitae and having had oral submissions during the approval hearing, made the following observations on her suitability for appointment as County Executive Committee member. That in accordance with Article 78(1) and 2 of the Constitution, the nominee is eligible for appointment to state office since she is a Kenyan citizen born in 1982 in Kenya and has not all dual citizenship. Mr. Speaker, sir, that the nominee meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained clearance from the following statutory bodies: ESCC, KRA, DCI, CRP, and Ireland's Board. See, Mr. Speaker, that the nominee has not been charged in a court of law in the past 3 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, that the nominee has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for the contravention of the provisions of Article 75(1), conflict of interest, Article 76, financial probity, Article 77, restriction on activities of the state officers. Article 78.2, dual citizenship of the Constitution. E, Mr. Speaker, that the nominee demonstrated knowledge of topical, administrative, and technical issues touching on public service management and has the requisite abilities, qualification, and experience to serve as the County Executive Committee member in charge of public service management. Mr. Speaker, sir, Bernard B. Bernard B., Mr. Speaker, sir, nominee for the County Executive Committee member for Trade, Industrialization, Innovation, Tourism, and Wildlife. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mr. Bernard B., the nominee for County Executive Committee member for Trade, Industrialization, Innovation, Tourism, and Wildlife, appeared before the committee on 28 October 2022 at 3:20 p.m. and was vetted under oath pursuant to Article 1792 of the Constitution of Kenya, the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act, and Kericho County Assembly Standing Orders. The committee noted the following. Mr. Speaker, sir, his date and place of birth. The nominee was born in 1987 in Kabianga Ward, Belgut Sub-County, Kericho County. His academic and professional qualifications. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee has a master's degree in business administration from Kabianga University and is currently pursuing a doctorate in philosophy in the same institution. Mr. Speaker, sir, his employment record. The nominee is currently working as a school bursar at Chepkosilen Secondary School, a position he has held since 2011. Mr. Speaker, sir, on honors and awards. The nominee didn't have any honors nor any awards. His income and net worth, Mr. Speaker. The nominee estimated his net worth to be 10 million shillings, comprising of vehicles, house, land with tea plantation and rental houses. Mr. Speaker, sir, his professional association and membership. The nominee is not a member of any professional body or association. Published writings. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee has published an article, Effects of Accounting Information Software Use and Service Delivered in Public Secondary Schools in Kericho County, Kenya, in the International Journal of Commerce. Potential conflict of interest. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee declared that he currently does not have any persons or matter that would present a potential conflict of interest should he assume the position of CEC member for Trade, Industrialization, Innovation, Tourism, and Wildlife. Should a conflict of interest arise, the nominee stated that he would declare the interest in accordance with the law. Mr. Speaker, sir, on pro bono and charity work, the nominee stated he supports the elderly. Mr. Speaker, sir, on integrity, the nominee has neither been charged in a court of law nor mentioned in any investigatory report of Parliament, Commission, or County Assembly in the last 3 years. He has also never been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for contravention of the provisions of Article 75 of the Constitution. The nominee also provided clearance certificates from EACC, the police, and Credit Reference Bureau. Mr. Speaker, sir, general and sector-specific questions to Mr. Bernard B. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee posed several questions to the nominee regarding his knowledge of the docket of trade, industrialization, tourism, and wildlife. The nominee responded as follows. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the nominee's general understanding of his docket, the nominee stated that the docket he has been nominated to deals with trade, which is about businesses, innovation, which is about creating new ideas, or improvement of an idea. Mr. Speaker, sir, industrialization, which is about industries within Kericho and out of Kericho. Tourism, which is about tourists and tourist destinations. And wildlife, which refers to animals. Mr. Speaker, sir, on small enterprises and enterprise fund, the nominee mentioned ways in which he will improve small enterprises in town. He mentioned that he will set up a revolving fund as promised by the governor that will give youths and women capital to start businesses. He further stated that he will amend the Enterprise Fund Act of 20 and insert a provision on partnering with financial institutions in the disbursement and recovery of the fund. On Cap, Katet, Roret, and Cap Keleg markets, the Speaker said the nominee stated that he will engage relevant stakeholders so as to ensure that the traders utilize tools that have been built. Mr. Speaker, sir, on revenue targets, the nominee, when asked on the laxity in collection of revenue, committed to work closely with Public Service Management and Finance Department to ensure the revenue officers collect revenue with seriousness as it serves, so that the targets are met. The Speaker, sir, on Chebulu Conservancy, Pagao, and Reresik tourist attraction centers, the nominee stated that there were plans by the county government to revive Chebulu Conservancy and committed to resolve the land issue that had affected its operation. Mr. Speaker, sir, on mushrooming of alcoholic joints, the nominee, when asked on how he will handle the mushrooming of alcoholic joints, he stated that he would ensure that alcoholic joints operate legally. However, he stated that he was not conversant with alcoholic drinks control rules. Mr. Speaker, sir, on innovation, the nominee, when asked on policies and ways that he will tap on the innovations by the youth, he assured the committee that he will liaise with the relevant departments so as to patent the innovations. On markets and trade along highways, the nominee committed to complete stalled markets and work with enforcement officers to ensure that the traders use market stalls than risking their lives along the highways. So, Speaker, on the economic stimulus program, the nominee stated that if approved, he will ensure that the workshops in the county are operational so as to generate revenue to the county. On value addition, the nominee said that he will engage experts on value addition to see to it that Chirchir produces products fetch farmers more through value addition. On knowledge and experience relating to the docket, he has been nominated to. The Speaker, sir, the nominee informed the committee that for the past 10 years, he has been working as a school bursar, hence he was equal to the task. On the laws passed by the Assembly relating to his docket, he said he was only aware of legislation on County Enterprise Fund, and he was not aware of the legislation on Alcoholic Drinks Control Act and Trade and Markets Act, and that he will endeavor to find what the legislation is all about once approved to serve in the said docket. So, Speaker, sir, committee observations on the suitability of the nominee. The committee, having considered the nominee's curriculum vitae and having had his oral submissions during the approval hearing, made the following observations on his suitability for appointment as County Executive Committee member. Mr. Speaker, sir, A, that in accordance with Article 78(1) and 2 of the Constitution, the nominee is eligible for appointment to state office since he is a Kenyan citizen born in 1987 in Chirchir and does not hold dual citizenship. Mr. Speaker, sir, B, that the nominee meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained clearance from the following statutory bodies: EACC, KRA, DCI, CRB, and Loans Board. C, Mr. Speaker, that the nominee has not been charged in a court of law in the past 3 years. D, Mr. Speaker, that the nominee has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for the contravention of the provision of Article 75(1), conflict of interest. Article 78, financial property. Article 75, restriction on activities of state officers, and Article 78(2) on dual citizenship of the Constitution of Kenya. So, Speaker, sir, E, that the nominee did not demonstrate knowledge of topical, administrative, and technical issues touching on the position of the County Executive Committee member for trade, industrialization, innovation, tourism, and wildlife, and lacks the requisite abilities, qualification, and experience to serve in the docket. Mr. Speaker, sir, Dr. Wesley K. Bor, PhD, nominee for the position of County Secretary and Head of County Public Service. Mr. Speaker, sir, Dr. Wesley K. Bor, the nominee for the position of County Secretary and Head of County Public Service, appeared before the committee on 28 October 2022 at 5:45 p.m. and was vetted under oath pursuant to Article 1792, the Public Appointments County Assembly Approval Act and the Chirchir County Assembly Standing Orders. The committee noted the following, Mr. Speaker, sir. Date and place of birth. The nominee is a male Kenyan born in 1980 at Kamashanwar, Kipkelian Sub-County of Chirchir County. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee holds a doctorate degree in food, nutrition, and dietetics, Mr. Speaker, sir, from Kenyatta University, and a doctorate in philosophy from the same university. Mr. Speaker, sir, his employment record. The nominee is a dean at the School of Medicine and Health Sciences, where his main role is to coordinate academic programs, resource management, clinical practicum, postgraduate program, and budgeting processes. He is also the head of Human Nutrition and Dietetics Department and Public Health Department, Kabarak University. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee is a member of the University Institute of Postgraduate Studies Board. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee also served in Waltery as the Program Health and Nutrition Coordinator. He was previously the District Nutrition in the Ministry of Health in Chirchir. The Speaker, sir, is on honors and awards. The nominee has an achievement award from Kenya Medical Research Institute, U.S. Army Medical Research Unit. Mr. Speaker, sir, his income and net worth. The nominee estimated his net worth to be 12 million shillings, comprising of land, 2 motor vehicles, and a house. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee is a member of Kenya Nutritionist and Dietitians Institute. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee indicated that he has published the books and articles in journals. Among others are the following: Editon Consortium Journal of Physical and Applied Science, Role of Dietary Antioxidants in the Management of HIV/AIDS, Kabarak Journal, Kenya National Guidelines on Nutrition and HIV, 3rd edition, Potential Conflict of Interest. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee declared that he currently does not have any persons or matter that would present a potential conflict of interest should he assume the position of County Secretary and Head of County Public Service. Should a conflict of interest arise, the nominee stated that he would declare the interest in accordance with the law. The Speaker, sir, on pro bono and charity work. The nominee is involved in charity work through medical camps and village fundraisings. Mr. Speaker, sir, on integrity, the nominee has neither been charged in a court of law or mentioned in any investigatory report in the last 3 years. He has also never been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for contravention of the provisions of Article 75 of the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, the nominee indicated that he would resign from his position as public officer if approved for the position in accordance with the law. Mr. Speaker, sir, general and sector-specific questions to Dr. Wesley K. Bor, PhD, on transition from being a dean at the School of Medicine and Health Sciences to County Secretary and Head of County Public Service. The nominee told the committee that he saw an opportunity to share experience and have a career growth. He also stated it was his desire to impact knowledge he has gained over years to serve the public. On delay of salaries, the Speaker, sir, the nominee acknowledged that delays in salaries demotivate staff, and there is need to have a memorandum of understanding with financial institutions which will ensure salaries are paid to the employees should there be delays in requisition of funds from the Treasury. Mr. Speaker, sir, on custodian of county assets, the nominee assured the county to keep safe the county assets by updating the county assets inventory and ensure that there is ISO certification. On staff motivation, Mr. Speaker, the nominee stated that for staff to be motivated, there is need to do staff rationalization and place staff on the departments they are qualified to serve. On conflict resolutions, the nominee reiterated the importance of identifying the problems and solving them before they escalate. He also proposed on having structured reporting mechanisms and promote stakeholder engagements. They have mutual agreements that will be focused on peaceful coexistence and enhanced service delivery. On Mr. Speaker, sir, on efficient and effective county secretary, the nominee informed the committee that he will ensure that minutes are kept properly and the minutes are standardized, and that the resolutions of the committee are timely delivered to the relevant institution, and that there is a proper monitoring and evaluation of implementation of the resolutions of the committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, committee observations. Committee observations on the suitability of the nominee. The committee, having considered the nominee's curriculum vitae and having had his oral submissions during the approval hearing, made the following observations on his suitability for appointment as county executive committee member. That in accordance with Article 78(1)(2) of the Constitution, the nominee is eligible for appointment to state office since he is a Kenyan citizen born in 1980 in Chirchir and does not hold dual citizenship. That the nominee meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained clearance from the following statutory bodies: CECM, KRA, DCI, and High Loans Board. That the nominee has not been charged in a court of law in the past 3 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, that the nominee has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for the contravention of the provisions of Article 75(1), conflict of interest, Article 76, financial probity, and on Article 77, to restriction on activities of state officers, and Article 78(2) on dual citizenship of the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, that the nominee demonstrated knowledge of topical administrative and technical issues touching on the position of county secretary and head of county, and has the requisite abilities, qualifications, and experience to serve as the county secretary and head of county public service. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee declines to approve his nomination since the procedure for appointment stipulated in law was not followed, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, committee observations. Pursuant to Section 9(2) of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act 2017, the committee observed that the following nominees met the integrity threshold, demonstrated knowledge of topical administrative and technical issues touching on the portfolios to which they have been nominated, and had the requisite abilities and academic qualification and professional experience to be approved for appointment. Mr. Speaker, sir, as County Executive Committee members in accordance with Article 179 of the Constitution, 2 of the Constitution of Kenya and Section 35 of the County Government Act, Mr. Speaker, sir, 1. Ngetich Leonard Kipkoech, nominee, Finance and Economic Planning. Mr. Speaker, sir, 2. Daniel Kipkorir Rob, nominee for Agriculture, Livestock and Cooperative Management. Mr. Speaker, sir. 3. Rosemary Chepkurui Rob, nominee, Water, Environment, Energy, Forestry and Natural Resources. Mr. Speaker, sir. 4. Edina Chepkurui Tanui, nominee for Health Services. Mr. Speaker, sir. 5. Judith Chepkurui, nominee, Information, Communication and E-Government, Youth Affairs, Gender and Sports. Mr. Speaker, sir, number 6, Cheriot Langat Brian, nominee, Lands, Housing and Physical Planning. Number 7, Mr. Speaker, sir, Engineer Eric Kimgatikoe, nominee, Public Works, Roads and Transport. Mr. Speaker, sir, and finally, number 8, Brenda Bill B, nominee, Public Service Management. But, Mr. Speaker, sir, and B, as County Secretary in accordance with Section 44(2) of the County Government Act, further pursuant to Section 9(2) of the Public Appointments County Assembly Approval Act number 5 of 2017, the committee observed that Lawrence B. Kipkoech, nominee for CEC, member for Education, Culture, Libraries and Social Services, did not demonstrate knowledge on topical issues and technical issues touching on the Department of Education, Culture, Libraries, and Social Services, lacked the requisite abilities and professional experience to be approved for appointment to the office of CEC member in the said docket. Mr. Speaker, sir, additionally, the committee observed that pursuant to Section 9(2) of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act number 5 of 2017, the committee observed that Bernard B., nominee for CEC member for Trade, Industrialization, Innovation, Tourism and Wildlife, did not demonstrate knowledge on topical, administrative, and technical issues touching on the Department of Trade, Industrialization, Innovation, Tourism, and Wildlife. Mr. Speaker, sir, lacked the requisite abilities and professional experience to be approved for appointment to the office of the CC member in the said docket. Mr. Speaker, sir, 278, despite Dr. Wesley K. Bor, the nominee, PhD, the nominee for the position of County Secretary as Head of County Public Service, demonstrating knowledge of topical issues, administrative, and technical issues touching on the portfolio to which he has been nominated to, and having the requisite ability, academic qualification, and professional experience, the procedure, Mr. Speaker, the procedure for constituting the selection panel that recruits the county secretary, Mr. Speaker, was not adhered to in accordance to Section 44(2)(c), as read together with Section 58A of the County Government Act of 2012, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, committee recommendations. Having conducted the approval hearing for the nominees pursuant to Article 179(2)(b) of the Constitution of Kenya, Section 35 of the County Government Act number 17 of 2012, Section 7 and 9 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act number 5 of 2017, and Standing Order 199, the committee recommends that this House, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee recommends that this House approves the nomination of Mr. Ngetich Leonard Kipkoech for appointment as CEC member for Finance and Economic Planning by His Excellency the Governor. 2, Mr. Speaker, approves the nomination of Daniel Kipkorirop for appointment as CEC member, Agriculture, Livestock, and Cooperatives Management by His Excellency the Governor. 3, Mr. Speaker, sir, approves the nomination of Rosemary Chepkirui for appointment as CEC member for Water, Environment, Energy, Forestry, and Natural Resources by His Excellency the Governor. Mr. Speaker, sir, 4, approves the nomination of Edina Chepkirui for appointment as CEC member for Health Services by His Excellency the Governor. Approves 5, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nomination of Judith Chepkirui for appointment as CEC member for Information, Communication, and E-Government, Youth Affairs, Gender, Sports by His Excellency the Governor. Mr. Speaker, sir, 6, approves the nomination of Cheriot Langat Brand for appointment as CEC member for Lands, Housing, and Physical Planning. 7, Mr. Speaker, approves the nomination of Engineer Eric Ngetich Koech for appointment as CEC member for Public Works, Roads, and Transport by His Excellency the Governor. And 8, Mr. Speaker, sir, approves the nomination of Brenda Bilby for appointment as CEC member for Public Service Management by His Excellency the Governor. Mr. Speaker, sir, 280. Further, pursuant to Section 9(2) of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act number 5 of 2017 and Standing Order 199, the committee recommends that this House rejects the nomination of Lawrence B. Kipkoech and Bernard B. for appointment as CEC members for Education, Culture, Libraries, and Social Services, and Trade, Industrialization, Innovation, Tourism, and Wildlife, respectively by His Excellency the Governor. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Section 44(2)(d)(b) of the County Government Act, the committee recommends that this House declines to approve the nomination of Dr. Wesley K. Bor for appointment as County Secretary and Head of County Public Service by His Excellency the Governor. 282, Mr. Speaker. Further, the Committee on Appointments recommends that the appointing authority adheres to the provisions of the County Governments Act on inclusion of minorities, marginalized groups, and communities, and all future appointments should reflect communities and cultural diversity within the county. Finally, Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 1945 of the Chirchir County Assembly Standing Order, the following members of the committee recorded a minority dissenting opinion against the rejection of the nomination of Lawrence B. as a county committee member, nominee for Education, Culture, and Social and Culture, Libraries, and Social Services, and Bernard B. as a county executive committee member, nominee for Trade, Industrialization, Innovation, Tourism, and Wildlife. The Honorable Vincent Korir, the Honorable Anita Mibey, the Honorable Dominic Mutai. Signed, Right Honorable Dr. Patrick Mutai, Speaker of the County Assembly and Chairperson, Committee on Appointments, dated 1st of November 2022. You will see the annexures there. We have, I had indicated Annexure 1. There is Annexure 1B, Annexure 2, Annexure 3A, Annexure 3A continuation, Annexure 3B on EACC, continuation. We have Annexure 4, Annexure 5, no later, and we also have Annexure 6. We have Annexure 6B. We have Annexure 6C. And finally, Annexure 6D, Mr. Speaker. And finally, Annexure 6. We have Annexure 6C, Mr. Speaker, sir. We also have Annexure 6F, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. The motion will be seconded by the Honorable Beth Cheruya.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Paul Chirchir. You may have your seat. The Honorable Cheriot Beth.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to stand behind the mover of the motion, that is Honorable Paul Chirchir, the leader of the Basics First in this county, Mr. Speaker, and a future something. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the mover of the motion, Mr. Speaker, because of the time it took. It was a very tedious exercise, Mr. Speaker, but I'm clear and confirming to you and the entire House, Mr. Speaker, that this report is the true recordings of the deliberations by the committee on appointment, Mr. Speaker, where I am a member, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me begin by saying that, Mr. Speaker, that the county assemblies came into being, Mr. Speaker, under Article 176(1) of the Constitution of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. When you go to the Article 185(1), Mr. Speaker, the legislative arm of the county government, Mr. Speaker, oversight arm of the county government, and also the approvals is vested at the county assembly, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Appointment, Mr. Speaker, is legally constituted, as you've seen from this report, Mr. Speaker, 199, Mr. Speaker, and it was approved by this Honorable House on the 5th October 2022, Mr. Speaker, so it is legally constituted, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as the Honorable Member, the mover of the motion, has just gone through the report, Mr. Speaker, I know, Mr. Speaker, you were the chair of this appointment committee, Mr. Speaker. More importantly, Mr. Speaker, we did sat and vetted the nominees, Mr. Speaker. What you are looking at, Mr. Speaker, is you are looking at the suitability. Going by the suitability, Mr. Speaker, we had various documents that we use to assist us, Mr. Speaker. And basically, Mr. Speaker, even the appearance on the candidates, on the way they were responding to pertinent issues affecting their department, Mr. Speaker. We are not the only one in Jerusalem, Mr. Speaker. The vetting exercise was online. Various people made their submission, even through those Facebook streaming, Mr. Speaker. And I want to commend you for allowing such platform, Mr. Speaker, so that at least the people who gave us the mandate to represent their interests, Mr. Speaker, will know what takes place in their county, Mr. Speaker. I want to commend you for allowing such live streaming, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you remember even as we go through the vetting exercise, most of the residents of this county were asking us questions that we posed to the nominees. And Mr. Speaker, those are the questions that we sought your indulgence to ask the nominees, Mr. Speaker. And even the people saw how those nominees, Mr. Speaker, responded to the various issues that are affecting our county, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we use various instruments to gauge their suitability. One of them, Mr. Speaker, is the county government, is the Constitution of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Is the Constitution of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Remember Article 184 also, Mr. Speaker. I mean, the devolved units is under Chapter 11 of the Constitution of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, and the creation of the County Assembly is Article 176. Mr. Speaker, we tested the suitability of those nominees using the relevant documents, Mr. Speaker. One of them is the County Government Act, Mr. Speaker. I was very passionate, Mr. Speaker, because as we even approved these nominees, Mr. Speaker, there are irreducible minimums that the nominees must prove that they are above board, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you've heard. I want to commend the governor because quite a number of those nominees, around 80%, Mr. Speaker, of those nominees, at least showed that ability to head the various dockets that they were nominated to, Mr. Speaker. So I want to commend the governor for at least making sure that at least 80% of the nominees, Mr. Speaker, met those requirements. Mr. Speaker, there are sections of the law, Mr. Speaker. For example, we were looking, the county government, Mr. Speaker, in some of the nominees is very clear. The Article 35, Section 35, 2, Mr. Speaker, especially Part B and C, concerning the minorities, Mr. Speaker, and the marginalized groups and communities in our county, Mr. Speaker, that the county assembly shall not, Mr. Speaker, and I want to never be invited, Mr. Speaker, to go against the Constitution, which is in broad daylight, is in white and black, Mr. Speaker. So some of these nominees, when you look at the list that we were given, Mr. Speaker, there were no representation of the minorities and the marginalized communities in our county, Mr. Speaker. That is Section 35 of the County Government Act, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank His Excellency the President because in making sure that the party complies with these sections of the law, Mr. Speaker, the party led by our President, Mr. Speaker, saw it fit to nominate the members to represent those interest groups in this county assembly, Mr. Speaker. A classic example, Mr. Speaker, is Honorable Matker, Mr. Speaker. He represents the minorities in this county, Mr. Speaker. Second, Mr. Speaker, is Honorable Pile, Mr. Speaker. She also represents the minority communities that live around here, Mr. Speaker. And of course, Honorable Gekonyo, Mr. Speaker. Those are the nominees that the party gave us, Mr. Speaker, so that we comply with these sections of the law. For that, I want to commend the President and his party, Mr. Speaker, the UDA party, Mr. Speaker, because they saw it fit that these sections of the law, Mr. Speaker, must be adhered to, Mr. Speaker. We have no options, Mr. Speaker, but we are supposed to go by this law, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, so I want to say that I do second the motions that was moved by the Hon.Paul Chirchir, Mr. Speaker, and we sat down. We look at all those issues that we were supposed to see, Mr. Speaker. I also want to commend the petitioners, Mr. Speaker. Some of those petitions never made it, Mr. Speaker, because of issues. Some of them, Mr. Speaker, withdrew their petition, Mr. Speaker. But when you look at the content of those petitions, Mr. Speaker, it captured what the appointing authority never did in sending those reports, Mr. Speaker. Apart from rejecting those petitions, Mr. Speaker, when you look at the content of those petitions, Mr. Speaker, you can tell that we have an informed population, Mr. Speaker, and that is good, Mr. Speaker. They must be encouraged to, every other time, petition the county government and by extension the county assembly on issues they think they were not well addressed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and maybe going forward, Mr. Speaker, because some of these petitions were, Mr. Speaker, were never saw the light of the day because of some maybe minor errors, Mr. Speaker. So I think we need to educate the public so that as they petition, at least they also use those framework and structures that has been established by these county assemblies, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I do not want to say much, Mr. Speaker, because I think the report that was moved by the Hon.Paul Chirchir is self-explanatory, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend some of the candidates as they went through the vetting process, Mr. Speaker. Some of them, Mr. Speaker, demonstrated a lot of passion, Mr. Speaker, especially the nominee for finance, Mr. Speaker. He gave us a practical step on how he is going, Mr. Speaker, to deal with the bending bill, Mr. Speaker. And that was good because a bending bill, Mr. Speaker, is the issue that has always become a thorn in the flesh in our county, I think, for the last 10 years, Mr. Speaker. He also gave a practical example how he's going to seal the revenue loopholes in our county, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just by to mention but a few, Mr. Speaker, I also want to commend the nominee for health, Mr. Speaker, because, you know, health is wealth, Mr. Speaker. We've been suffering from, that department has always been suffering from a lot of issues, Mr. Speaker. But the nominee did explain how he's going to make sure that we have drugs in our facilities 24 hours a day, Mr. Speaker. And that was good for her, Mr. Speaker, because that has always, when we go to meet the people who elected us, Mr. Speaker, and you are asked about the drugs in our facilities, Mr. Speaker, sometimes we lack what to tell them, Mr. Speaker. But at least for the first time I can see, we have a CEC who understands, Mr. Speaker, that there should be drugs in our facilities. What made even me, Mr. Speaker, what made my day, Mr. Speaker, when the nominee was asked about the emergency services in our county, Mr. Speaker, especially the county referral concerning the ambulance, Mr. Speaker, they take an entire day to refer a patient to another facility, Mr. Speaker, because of lack of fuel to fuel the ambulance that we bought in this county, Mr. Speaker. And the nominee, in fact, Mr. Speaker, she cried while answering that question because one of his kin, Mr. Speaker, lost her life at the emergency section, Mr. Speaker, because there were no fuel to fuel the ambulance, Mr. Speaker, to refer the patient to MTRH, Mr. Speaker. So, in fact, she said that she will make sure that fuel is always available for those ambulances, Mr. Speaker. That is what we've been lacking, Mr. Speaker. We normally call the department, Mr. Speaker, and they're telling us, you can have the vehicle, Mr. Speaker, but there are no fuel. Sometimes you do not have money, Mr. Speaker, to fuel those ambulances to take our patients to either MTRH or Nairobi, the Kenyatta National Hospital and another facilities, Mr. Speaker. So, those are just but a few, Mr. Speaker. But on the other side, Mr. Speaker, I also took time to interact with the nominee for education, Mr. Speaker. You know, I have been the chair for this committee for long, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, with all honesty, Mr. Speaker, I think the governor needs a very serious person on this department, Mr. Speaker. If you cannot identify, Mr. Speaker, the county legislation in the department that you've been nominated to head, Mr. Speaker, if you cannot identify not even one legislation, Mr. Speaker, if you cannot even, Mr. Speaker, tell us the marks as the deputy head of a school, you do not even know the average marks of the last KCPE, KCPE, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if the only achievement of a serious nominee to a doctorate of education, Mr. Speaker, is that he was leading in an home science contest in zonal in 1998, Mr. Speaker. You know, some of these things, Mr. Speaker, we need to say it, Mr. Speaker.
When you come to another nominee, Mr. Speaker, you ask someone, what do you think about wildlife? He tells you, we do not have wild animals in our county. So he has no idea what wildlife is because there are no wild animals in our county, Mr. Speaker. And we are sitting here trying to bulldoze these people to be the CECs, Mr. Speaker. So I want to tell the County Assembly, the drafters of the Constitution and the County Government Act, Mr. Speaker, had some of these issues in their mind, Mr. Speaker, that the oversight role of the county government will be vested at the County Assembly, Mr. Speaker. So I want to urge the third County Assembly members, Mr. Speaker, that let's rise to the occasion, Mr. Speaker. Let's do our oversight role, Mr. Speaker, so that for the success of this county, we need to stand up and be counted that when our population needed that most, Mr. Speaker, we rose to the occasion, Mr. Speaker, and defended the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. When you go to a county secretary, Mr. Speaker, a county secretary, Mr. Speaker, is very suitable to the nomination, to that document, Mr. Speaker. But the only problem, Mr. Speaker, is the legal department, Mr. Speaker, are mischief on the issues of approving the panel, Mr. Speaker, that is going to appoint the county secretary, Mr. Speaker. We had a very sharp man, a professor, seated here, Mr. Speaker. But the only problem is that the board that interviewed that person, Mr. Speaker, was not approved by this county assembly. That was the only issue. Otherwise, we had a very sharp man, Mr. Speaker. And that is to say, I think the county executive department of legal, Mr. Speaker, must be made to account, Mr. Speaker. They should give the governor the right advice, especially in terms of legal, Mr. Speaker. Other, Mr. Speaker, I want to support the report. And as I hand, Mr. Speaker, because of time, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that sometimes, Mr. Speaker, somebody once said, Martin Luther King Jr., Mr. Speaker, on August 28, 1963, when he was giving a speech on the famous I Have a Dream, Mr. Speaker, he said that there comes a time that one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politics, nor popular, but one must take it because conscience tells him it is right, Mr. Speaker. These are such times, Mr. Speaker. We take a position. The position that you take might not be popular, Mr. Speaker. It might not be safe, Mr. Speaker. But we must take a position because it is about the conscience, Mr. Speaker. So I want to remind the County Assembly members of Chirchir that history will judge you very harshly if we don't rise to the occasion. Mr. Speaker, I hope it is live there, Mr. Speaker. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the same person said, Mr. Speaker, that the same meeting when he was addressing 250 people, 1,000 people, Mr. Speaker, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moments of comfort and convenience, Mr. Speaker, but stands at the times of challenge and controversy. These are such times, Mr. Speaker, that we need to rise as a county assembly and do our job well. And finally, Mr. Speaker, our president, the Honorable Dr. William Ruto, normally says, Mr. Speaker, the best way to support a government, Mr. Speaker, is to correct it, Mr. Speaker. So the best way to support the government that we have in Chirchir County, Mr. Speaker, is to support that government, is to correct some mistakes that the government tries to do. That is the only way you will support the governor of this county, Mr. Speaker. That is the only way you will support the government, Mr. Speaker. And by supporting that government, Mr. Speaker, remember we are part of the government. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to say that I second this motion, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, as we contribute, I want to humbly urge the honorable members of this county assembly, Mr. Speaker, that we need to pull up our socks and begin work, Mr. Speaker. On your end, Mr. Speaker, some of the sections, Mr. Speaker, are constitutional. Some of the sections, Mr. Speaker, can never be attempted, Mr. Speaker, because some of them are constitutional. You know? So thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the committee on appointment led by you, and of course the mover of the motion. Thank you very much, and I want to urge the members, let's support this report in entirety, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the Honorable Cheriot Bates. Before Honorable Rogonya, before I give it to you, I want to give to the Honorable Majority because there is a proposal for amendments that he needs to table before this House. Honorable members, I want you to refer your standing orders to number 93. Points of order. Any member may raise a point of order at any time during the speech of another member, stating that the member rises on a point of order and that member shall be required to indicate the standing order upon which the point of order is based. And on matters of point of information, let me also direct that unless the member speaking or the chair accepts to be informed, then that is the time you will be given on the issues of point of information. Honorable Majority, proceed. Honorable Majority, please proceed. Honorable Majority, proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I move an amendment on the report.
What is it, the Honorable Rono, and does the majority leader willing to be informed?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Maybe to inform ourselves, Mr. Speaker, and inform the House, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Majority Leader cannot move actually to do an amendment before you put a question, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, the Honorable the Honorable Rono.
To propose, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, I now propose the question that this House approves the report of the Appointment Committee on vetting of the nominees for the position of County Executive Committee members and County Secretary, pursuant to Public Appointments County Assembly Approval Act Number 5 of 2017, Section 9. Motion moved by Hon.Paul Chirchir and seconded by the Honorable Cheriot. Yes. So, the Honorable Majority, please now proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I now rise to move an amendment on the report, on the appointment report, on the vetting of the county executive member nominee for education, culture, libraries and social services, Mr. Lawrence B. Kipkoech, and the county executive committee member for trade and industrialization, innovation and tourism, Mr. Bernard B. to be approved. Furthermore,
yes, the Honorable Ezron, are you Honorable Majority? You need to confirm whether you want to be informed. And then again, the clerk, I don't have the copy of the amendments that the majority is tabling before this House. So the Honorable Ezron.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I rise to inform the Honorable House and the Honorable Majority Leader, Honorable Speaker, that he is a member of Appointment Committee, and he doubles up, Honorable Speaker, as the Vice Chair to the Appointment Committee, Honorable Speaker. It is so unfortunate, Honorable Speaker, that a member who is the Vice Chair of a said committee bring amendment, and he was part of the members who were drafting this report, Mr. Speaker. This will be disorderly, Mr. Speaker, and this is a house of rules and procedure. We will set a very bad precedent if we will allow the members who have wasted taxpayers' money, they go to retreat, they do a report, and they are the same people coming here to do what? To amend the report.
Yes.
It's so unfortunate.
Order. The Honorable, the Honorable Ezron, there is point of information from the Honorable Ngatich. Do you wish to be informed? You don't wish. Thank you. The honorable majority, what do you have to say about that before you read? Order.
Honorable Speaker, yes, as we read the report, you saw that in the report there is an indication that there are members who dissented. And the voice of the members who dissented in the report should be listened to. And there is no way we can say, since we are the members, we cannot, our voice cannot be heard. Pursuant to the standing order number 199.5, it says the quorum on the committee on appointment should be 1/2 of the members of the committee, but the speaker shall not be counted for the purposes of quorum and shall not vote. So therefore, since we have our opinion...
Order, honorable member. First of all, we address the issue of... maybe you can take your seat first, because take your seat first. Before, you know, we need to prosecute the matter raised by the head of Hezron, whether you are in order to table some amendments. Yes, the Honorable Dr. Naman, and then I'll... Yes, please.
Honorable Speaker, sir, I also rise on a point of information to Honorable the majority that amidst the standing order that he has read for us, it is provided within the report. And Honorable Speaker, we will not allow that an amendment is brought into the floor of the House, and within the said amendment, in fact, they are making something in the last paragraph of that amendment, that the meeting ended unceremoniously. So that means there were two appointment committees outside there. And that means there is a different report again being placed in this floor. I want to reject the kind of amendment being brought to this floor, Mr. Speaker, because in the... I accept the point of information.
The Honorable, I'll give to the Honorable Ron, and then I'll give to Honorable Ngatich.
Mr. Speaker, I think also Mheshimiwa Dr. Naaman Drop, Mr. Speaker, is out of order, Mr. Speaker. We cannot discuss actually the amendment by Honorable Majority Leader before you even open maybe the floor for the discussion of the same amendment, Mr. Speaker. And number two, Mr. Speaker, we need to seek maybe interpretation, Mr. Speaker, if you will allow me some seconds, Mr. Speaker. We seek the same interpretation, Mr. Speaker, maybe before Majority Leader could move actually his amendment, Mr. Speaker. So first of all, Mr. Speaker, let us wait. Let us give time to Honorable Majority Leader. We listen first before we actually open the discussion of the same, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Ngatich, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity also could be to comment on the capability of the Majority Leader to move an amendment. He is capable. He is one of the members of the committee and illustrate a descending voice. So his reservations should be heard under recommendation and also the amendment of the report. If at all there was a dissatisfaction in the report, it shows that Mr. Speaker is seeing the dissenting voices in the list circulating is including one honorable member, Honorable Weldon Kibrodi Ragony. And in the report, he is not there, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Ngatich. So, anyone else to, or we give the majority to read the dissent. We give to Honorable Ragony to confirm, and order first. The Honorable majority from the report, the Honorable members, is that we have a dissenting opinion. Honorable members, I was the chairman of the committee, but I will be making the direction after listening to the minority or dissenting opinion from the majority, and after that, I will give to the Honorable Ragony to say something about it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. And let me now move the amendment on the report, on the appointment, and on the vetting of the county executive member nominee for education, culture, libraries, and social services, Mr. Lawrence B. Kipkoech, and the executive committee member for trade, industrialization, innovation, tourism, Mr. Bernard B., to amend in the report that I seek to be amended, page 82.
Just before that, Honorable Majority, I expected you to read your minority opinion.
Okay.
Yes, before you move any amendment, because I will be giving direction on whether you will proceed with the amendments or not. Point of information, yes, the Honorable Chief Whip.
Mr. Speaker, in this case, I believe there is no minority or either majority. I believe we have 4 members, according to the standing order, that are in support of the same, and there are 4 that are against. So to be very honest, and all of them have signed. Already here we have something that has been signed. So, Mr. Speaker, guide this house properly. Because we want things that are in order.
And that is order. And that is why, Honorable Chief Whip, you ought to have been patient a bit. And that is why I have insisted on the majority to read the minority's dissenting opinion, which has the members that have signed. You notice that in the report, the motion tabled by the Hon.Paul Chirchir, we had 3 dissenting members. Yes. But in this minority dissenting opinion that I have 4 members. So I'm pleading with you just to be patient. We allow the Honorable Majority to read it, and now that will now capture what you are saying, that there are 4 versus 4. Is it? So can we allow him to read the minority dissenting opinion, and then on the matter of amendment, you will only proceed tabling your amendments after I give a directive. Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have 2 items here with me. I have the report and the amendment report on the appointment. Amendment of the report on appointment. Now, let me begin with the report of the minority as per the main report on the approval of the nomination of Lawrence. Let me read. Minority dissenting opinion on the nomination of Mr. Lawrence B. Kipkoech for the appointment as County Executive Committee member in charge of education, culture, libraries, and social services.
Yes, majority.
Don't need information now.
Proceed and please finish. Order first. Order.
Thank you. I seek protection, sir.
Order. Let's allow him before.
Thank you.
Amendments. Order.
Let me repeat. Minority dissenting opinion on the nomination of Mr. Lawrence B. Kipkoech for appointment as County Executive Committee member in charge of education, culture, libraries, social services, and Mr. Bernard B., County Executive Committee member in charge of trade, industrialization, innovation, and tourism. Pursuant to Standing Order number 194.5 and 6, the following members of the committee recorded dissenting opinion against the disapproval of the nomination of Mr. Lawrence B. Kipkoech, County Executive Committee member in charge of education, culture, libraries, and social services, and Mr. Bernard B., County Executive Committee member in charge of trade, industrialization, innovation, tourism, and wildlife. The dissenting members here signed are: number 1, Honorable Vincent Korir; number 2, Honorable Anita Mibey; number 3, Honorable Dominic Mutai; number 4, Honorable Weldon Kiprotich Rogoy. Pursuant to Order number 195.5, the quorum on the committee on the appointment should be 1/2 of the members of the committee, but the Speaker shall not be counted for the purpose of the quorum and shall not vote. The dissenting voices noted that during the appointment committee report writing process, the committee members were equal. That means 4 against 4 members. The other members did not take into the consideration the scores as per the vetting tool, which was placed the two nominees above average. They also didn't take that the two nominees were compliant with all other requirements as per the vetting tool and the Constitution. Furthermore, we were not considered in the production of the final report of the committee. That the last meeting of the adoption of the report ended unceremoniously, thus not taking into consideration the views of the members listed. The members therefore found that Mr. Lawrence B. Kipkoech, County Executive Committee member in charge of education, culture, libraries, social services, and Mr. Bernard B., County Executive member in charge of trade, internationalization, innovation, tourism, be approved by this Honorable House. The County Secretary, Dr. Wesley Bauer, was found to be fit to hold office, thus to proceed for approval.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Majority. Please take your seats. Yes, the Honorable Philip.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. May it be actually, Mr. Speaker, for the purposes of records in this House, Mr. Speaker, what actually Mheshimiwa Honorable Majority Leader has just read to us, Mr. Speaker, is he trying to make the document that is before us, Mr. Speaker, that has been signed by 4 members of this committee, Mr. Speaker, be part of this report? Is he doing another report on top of the existing report, or actually is trying? Maybe we want to be informed, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Maybe I seek your protections before I explain the same, Mr. Speaker, because actually the Honorable Majority Leader has just read 2 documents, Mr. Speaker, and when you find these 4 names, Mr. Speaker, according to Standing Order Section 199, Mr. Speaker, the issue of 4 members, Mr. Speaker, is for the purposes of quorum, Mr. Speaker, which no one actually has contested the issue of quorum in the committee, Mr. Speaker. My only issue here, Mr. Speaker, maybe was actually the Majority Leader to continue reading his amendments, Mr. Speaker, and be subjected to the House, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, for the purpose of the 4 members that are appearing here, Mr. Speaker, it's just for the purpose, confirmation that there was quorum in that appointments committee, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, the Honorable Gilbert. The Honorable Gilbert Ngetich. You are on a point of information, is it? And yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, could be to inform the Honorable Rono that this is a list of, as by my understanding, this is a list of dissenting honorable members who are in the meeting, and the other members approved. So this list was actually to give us the true list of the dissenting voices. That is, in the report, we have 3 honorable members. But in this circulating list, we have now Honorable Weldon Kibroti Rogony. Is he here erroneously, Mr. Speaker? Could be actually require or request that the honorable member to confirm where do he belong. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Before I give to Rogony, Honorable Naman, before I give to Rogony, I'll give you the Honorable Rogony.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, in giving me this opportunity to get more clarifications. The way Honorable Kimaros is explaining.
Honorable, order.
Okay.
Please withdraw.
The way the Honorable members explain.
Order.
The way the Honorable members explain.
Order, Honorable Naman.
Is not.
Order. Maybe I want to believe the Honorable Naman, the Honorable Gilbert Ngetich put information or to you are willing for. Yes, Honorable Gilbert Ngetich, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. As I had just left being Honorable Gilbert Kiprob Aramwetich, MC elected Kishara Ward. The Honorable, the insinuated Honorable Gimarus is who, Mr. Speaker, sir? Because by my names, I'm Honorable Gilbert Kiprob Aramwetich, MCA Kishara Ward. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Gilbert Ngatich. The Honorable Dr. Naman, please be guided that the such a name is
apologies.
a
Apologies.
you withdraw and apologize.
I apologize for that name.
And you withdraw.
The Honorable Member has given a very good position, Mr. Speaker, sir, that is not captured in the amendment. When you read, for example, the amendment that has been done in the paragraph that I was giving almost recently, insinuating that the members that have been captured in the amendment were not considered in the production of the final report is a very serious allegation, Mr. Speaker, sir. It shows that we are discussing two reports. It showed that the appointments committee went out and divided themselves into two. So we will not allow this kind of allegations to be made in this house, and particularly you being the chairman who chaired the appointments committee. If then these members were not involved in the production of the report that has been tabled in this house, Mr. Speaker, sir, then we are doing an exercise in futility. The report that has been put before us is the null and void. Can you guide us so that we know what we are discussing?
Thank you. Order. Yes, the Honorable Anita.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity to be able to contribute. I would like to add on the issue that we are having before us on the list of the dissenting voices of the four honorable members, and in contradiction with what has been moved in the report. My concern, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that in the report it's indicated that we have 3 members. However, I would like to request that we are provided in this house with a Hansard report confirming that the members, the 3 members actually dissent the report and not the 4 members. Thank you.
All right. The Honorable, now at this point I want to give to the Honorable Weldon Rogon to confirm his position on the same.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For records, let me confirm that I did give an opinion, a dissenting opinion on the report. I was surprised that despite my dissenting opinion, I was still captured as part of those who approved the report. And Mr. Speaker, I want to draw you to, my dissenting opinion is drawn to conclusions. First of all, recommendation 276, recommendation 277, the committee recommendations 280.
Yes, Honorable Rogon, maybe you'll be informed if you...
I don't, if it is me, Mr. Speaker, I don't need information. Let me wind. So, and 283.
Information to the House, then the Honorable Paul Chirchir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. The standing orders and the guiding laws are very clear, Mr. Speaker, sir. When you descend on the report. You don't descend on specifics, Mr. Speaker, sir. So can the member of the House be informed on the same? The member should descend on the report, but not on specifics, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Let's proceed, the Honorable Rogon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is also wise for the member to understand that my dissenting opinion captured in the report, that is where I'm dissenting. So, Mr. Speaker, most of those recommendations and observations are drawn from section, not section, but 151, 352, that is the observation of the committee on the suitability of the nominee, that is Lawrence. Mr.
Yes,
Speaker,
okay. The Honorable Rogan, please take your seat.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we do not have two reports. We have one report. The report says, report on vetting of the nominees for the appointment to the offices of the County Executive Committee members and County Secretary and Head of Public Service. That is one report.
Yes.
You either support the report or you dissent.
Order. The Honorable, order. Let's allow, for us, for purposes of
Mr. Speaker, so
that we can move on.
Thank you for protection. So I was giving my opinion, Mr. Speaker, on the report that we also have 311, that is 254, not 254, sorry. 290, 310. Mr. Speaker, my opinion descending on the report are the findings. The County Governments Act 35, Mr. Speaker, and I want to invite you to that, 35(3). I'm part of the Appointments Committee, Mr. Speaker, and we did take through our nominees through the vetting process. In 35, it is important that you capture this, Mr. Speaker. Most of these nominees, all of them, passed 35(3). And D, where now we are rejecting the two nominees, is where...
Just let us allow him to finish, please.
That is where, Mr. Speaker, I'm giving my input that in the final report, I'm opposed to the findings, the recommendations that led to the rejection of the two nominees. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Philip, what is to the House? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I think the House is being misled, Mr. Speaker. What I want, Mr. Speaker, we are on the point of Honorable Majority Leader, Mr. Speaker, that actually there is a production report that has already come to the floor of the House, Mr. Speaker. And actually, Honorable Member Majority Leader has proposed, he wanted to propose an amendment, Mr. Speaker, and as per this document, Mr. Speaker, that find its way into this House, Mr. Speaker, the issue of these four nominees, the report is full, Mr. Speaker, here, and what we are discussing now is the report, Mr. Speaker. We want to hear Honorable Majority Leader, Mr. Speaker, then we see the content that he has, Mr. Speaker, if it is within the law, Mr. Speaker, to do the same amendments to the same report, Mr. Speaker. I think the issue of other members maybe who didn't attend, Mr. Speaker. What is very important, all these members, this document, Mr. Speaker, confirms to us that actually there was quorum in the same appointments, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, the report is valid, Mr. Speaker. Whether one were there or not, Mr. Speaker, the issue of dissenting opinion, Mr. Speaker, that's why I was asking if this one, Honorable Majority Leader, wanted to be part of the report, Mr. Speaker. Maybe it was very late, Mr. Speaker, in the meeting. We wanted to know if this document, the issue of dissenting opinion, Mr. Speaker, by four members, be part of the document, the existing document that is before us, Mr. Speaker. Then we continue with the issue of amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, order. Yes, the Honorable Chief Whip.
Mr. Speaker, I think the honorable member that has just left, to be very honest, the issue that is at hand here is we want to know which section is the minority. That is where we should start first. You know, 4 members already has confirmed that they are really dissenting, and 4 are really supporting. Where are we, Mr. Speaker? Can you guide this house properly?
Order.
Yeah, we need a proper
Order.
Yeah, rather than us.
Order, Honorable Chief Whip. Order. Yes, the Honorable Cheriot.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for giving the people of Inamoi a chance to speak, Mr. Speaker, on their behalf. Mr. Speaker, going by what the honorable representing the great people of Chirchir Oriet said toward Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Rotich. I will not call him by the title because I never voted for him, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when you go to Standing Order 199, Part 5, Mr. Speaker, where the point of contention, Mr. Rotich, Mr. Speaker,
order. Let's allow him to finish.
The Honorable Rotich, Mr. Speaker, protect me, Mr. Speaker.
Yes,
the Honorable Rotich, Mr. Speaker, you know you cannot force me to use the title to refer to you. I choose which I refer you by your name. So the Honorable Member for Chirchir Oriet, Mr. Speaker, is referring to Standing Order 199 that was alluded by the Honorable Vincent, representing the great people of Londiani, Mr. Speaker, that under Standing Order 199, Part 5, he is asking whether the report that we tabled.
Order. Let him finish.
Protect me, Mr. Speaker, so that I finish.
Order. Let him finish first. Order.
Yes.
Order.
Protect me, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.
And of course, you know I'm also very good in that, Mr. Speaker, if you give me an opportunity.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, you know, Part 5 says the quorum of the committee on appointment shall be 1/2 of the members of the committee. 1/2. This section, Mr. Speaker, speaks on whether there was quorum in the appointment committee. Mr. Speaker, it goes ahead and says, and shall be 1/2 of the members of the committee, but the speaker shall not be counted for the purposes of the quorum. For the purposes of the quorum. So the question is, was there a quorum when the appointment committee sat, Mr. Speaker? There was quorum. There were 4 members. So that is quorum, Mr. Speaker. And for the purpose of quorum, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Protect me, Mr. Speaker. You know I'm also very good in some of this, Mr. Speaker. I do not want to go that direction.
Honorable Chair.
So, Mr. Speaker, I'm saying, shall not be counted for the purposes of quorum and shall not vote. So this is the Speaker not voting for the purposes of quorum, not the entire committee. Are you getting me, Mr. Speaker? So I need your guidance there, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Thank you very much, Honorable Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for the purposes of proceeding,
yes,
I want to request that because there are 2 reports here, especially on dissenting, this one and the one that is in the report. So I want to suggest, so that we proceed, that allow Weldon Rogon at least to add himself on the dissenting report, on the report, so that at least we can proceed, so that this thing cannot be admitted and then his name be admitted in this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Honorable, I saw a point, Honorable, and let me request the Honorable members, let us be tolerant to one another. When Honorable member is making a point, let's give him or her time. Let's not shout. We are Honorable members, and this is a house of dignity. So, Honorable Chief Whip, you were up. What was it?
Mr. Speaker, I think according to what the Honorable Member has just said, I would believe that if you'll allow us maybe to proceed and maybe move the amendment, and maybe if you can guide us, Mr. Speaker, with your guidance, I would want to plead with you that based on what the majority has just read, maybe if you allow me.
Be clear on the amendment. Which amendment?
Probably the amendment that the majority leader is trying to give us a dissenting voice. Thank you.
Okay. The Honorable Rogon, you know you were part of the appointment committee. You know it very clearly. And even members, before we say so much, refer to the minutes in Annex 6B, dated 31st October. Even before I give my opinion on whether we will admit these amendments. That is why I was giving you time. But members have failed to prosecute the matter. Instead, they are raising point of orders and point of information. I will be giving a direction on the same, whether we shall continue with the amendments or not. And that is why the Honorable Majority, I want to still give you time. On the same, because I want to make a decision. Anything? I make a decision. Yes. Yes. Not to move. You know. The question is, I had allowed Rogony to, but Rogony has already indicated that he was part of the. Maybe you take your seat first. And Rogony, from following what Hon.Paul Albert has just said here, I don't know. Do you have anything else new to tell this House?
Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I did give my position that I gave a dissenting opinion on the report. Shockingly, I was not included in the list of those who gave a dissenting opinion. And Mr. Speaker, why I said I gave that dissenting opinion was based on a few things that the report captures and contrary to my opinion. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm to the House that the report as it is gives us a right to dissent on the findings. So, Mr. Speaker, should there be, we are pushing for an amendment for that, so that we amend, we pass the report as amended. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So, yes, the Honorable Hezron.
I rise on a point of may I know, Honorable Speaker, because we need guidance and clear procedure in this House, Mr. Speaker. And the reason why we normally say this House is out of procedure and precedence is because, Mr. Speaker, I remember last few weeks we had a report of a certain committee by Committee on Selection, Mr. Speaker. And there was a clear guideline and a ruling by the chair on that day, Mr. Speaker, that a report of a committee which has gone out, done a research. Some of a good example is the members of the appointment. They banned the midnight oil until 12 a.m. in the morning, Mr. Speaker. And most of us, we were not part of the committee. We don't know, and we didn't execute. So the reason why I am asking, may I know, Mr. Speaker, is that in the last guidance and ruling, Mr. Speaker, there was a ruling that a report of a committee can either be adopted or rejected. And I want, Honorable Speaker, you stick on that, Mr. Speaker, because you know, this House, Mr. Speaker, we are treading on a dangerous ground, Mr. Speaker, and we may mislead this House, Mr. Speaker. So with your guidance and wisdom, Mr. Speaker, can you give us correct guideline, Mr. Speaker? Because we cannot debate two reports, conflicting reports in this House, Mr. Speaker. In fact, there is an allegation that after the report was done and the majority leader wrote that it ended unceremoniously. The report was signed, everybody was signed, and then later on it was tiered and it was tiered. So it means there is more than what we are seeing, Mr. Speaker. So we need, that is why that's a point of may I know and yes, guide the House.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Order first. Oh yeah.
Mr. Speaker, I've just remembered one thing, Mr. Speaker, so that you solve the issue of whether Rogony belongs to the majority side or the minority side, that the Honorable Rotich wants to make it the majority side. Mr. Speaker, I remember there was a document that we signed in Nakuru. We were with the Honorable Rogony until late at night. Maybe that could be the reason why the Honorable member changed his mind at night, Mr. Speaker. we heard there were some papers that was exchanging hands over the name, Mr. Speaker. Could that be the reason why maybe the Honorable Ogony want to shift from the other list to this other list of the minority, Mr. Speaker? Because there was a document that we signed, and he was part of us, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, let's be orderly. Order. Order, honorable members. We must proceed. And we all know that, honorable members, our standing orders allows both dissenting and the majority opinion. Is that okay? And honorable members, of course, the Honorable Ogony has at now indicated that he was part of the dissenting opinion. Honorable members, I also sat in the same committee, and that is why I think at this point in time, I am forced to make to give a directive on the way forward so that we can proceed. Honorable members, the office of the clerk has received the minority opinion from 4 members, which is different from the main report placed before this House. Pursuant to Standing Order 199, the composition of the committee on appointment is 9, which is inclusive of the Speaker. Kindly note the Speaker has neither the original nor casting vote. Hence, only 8 members can participate in the report. Honorable members, noting that only 4 have given their dissenting opinion, and the other 4 have supported the report that is before the House, and having heard the views from both sides, it is clear that there is no majority. Report hence a tie. Please note the minority opinion only relates to the 2 nominees, that is Lawrence B. Kipkoech, County Executive Committee member for Education, Culture, Libraries and Social Services docket, and Bernard B., County Executive Committee member nominee for Trade, Industrialization, Innovation, Tourism, Wildlife docket, making reference to Section 20 of the County Government Act, where it is implied that House rules of voting is also applicable at the committee level. It states that where there is a tie, the issue is lost. I therefore direct that the question relating to the 2 nominees is hereby lost and the status quo. And the status quo continues. Honorable members, note that the directive is from the chair and it is final. Honorable members, on the very matter, again, that is in the minority stroke dissenting report. Honorable members, this is on the matter of the county secretary. Yes, the Honorable Albert.
Maybe, Mr. Speaker, I did not understand why you have said that on the 2 nominees it is lost. So maybe I will request that you substantiate further whether the report will remain the way it is,
yes,
or what has happened. Humble request. Thank
you. Clerk, meanwhile, the Honorable Albert, if you refer to page 83 of the original report, it is very clear on the same, and that is why I have ruled on the matter of 2 nominees, implying that the question is lost. Because, honorable members, when there is a tie, let me give clearance and direction. Honorable members, I have already given a directive, and I am just explaining. Honorable members, we are following the standing. We are following the act and the standing orders. Where there is no majority, what do you do? Which question do you expect? There is a tie. There is a tie that 4 are supporting the same nominees, 4 are against the same nominees. Which question do you expect the Speaker to put? There is no question of putting. Thank you very much, and I think I have clarified on that.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry to say this. So, what was the question? What was the question?
Order. I have already given the directive.
Humble request.
Order.
Humble request, Mr. Speaker.
Order. I've already given the directive. Order. Yes, point of information.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Maybe for the sake of understanding from members, Mr. Speaker, the point of contention is now for Mr. Speaker to mean if actually the other that had been termed to be the minority could reach 5, Mr. Speaker, they could overturn the report before inside, Mr. Speaker. But now, this is now the report that is before the floor, Mr. Speaker. I think the next thing now, Mr. Speaker, we proceed. I will not say the amendment because I'm not the Speaker, but I'm saying now, I think, Mr. Speaker, we are now proceeding because actually the number of the minority, there is no minority, there is no majority, Mr. Speaker, to mean the report will remain as it is, Mr. Speaker. So we are now moving forward to discuss the same report, Mr. Speaker.
Order. I was order, Honorable Philip. Further, honorable members, that was on the minority opinion and the minority opinion report and the main report, and therefore I have stated that the question is lost. Secondly, on the amendments to the report on appointments, the office of the clerk received a proposed amendment by Honorable Vincent Korir, the majority leader, to amend the report by the Committee on Appointments. The amendment proposes approval of County Secretary Dr. Wesley Bor, which is in compliance with Standing Order 66-1. Honorable members, kindly be guided that any amendment of the House must be in compliance with the Constitution of Kenya and the laws of Kenya. The report by the Committee on Appointments clearly stated that the County Secretary and Head of County Public Service, despite meeting the qualification and having knowledge and experience as stated in Section 44, the recruitment process for the said office was invalid as the recruiting panel. The selection panel was not approved by the law as stipulated in Section 44(2)(c), read together with Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012. Hence, the amendment is hereby not approved, as the effect will contravene the said provisions. Furthermore, Standing Order number 67 provides that no amendment shall be permitted if, in the opinion of the Speaker, represents a direct negative of the question. With these two reasons, I do not approve the said amendment. Thank you. And therefore, honorable members, the floor is open. So we have one report to discuss in this House. And the report is either you will support or reject. The floor is open before I will put the question. Thank you. Let us continue, please. Yes, the Honorable Ezra, please. Order. Order. I will be putting the question shortly.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir. And I want to applaud you, Mr. Speaker, for that solemnic, wisdomic ruling, Mr. Speaker.
Order, honorable members. Order. Let us listen. Order, please. Please proceed.
So, Honorable Speaker, I rise to support the report the way it is, Mr. Speaker. And before I support Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to thank the Appointment Committee, Mr. Speaker, for a vigorous work and tedious work they did, Mr. Speaker. They banned the midnight oil, Mr. Speaker, and ensure that, Mr. Speaker, within a shortest time possible, Mr. Speaker, they managed to vet the nominees, Mr. Speaker, spending wee hours, Mr. Speaker, and vetting the nominees, Mr. Speaker, and coming with the report, Mr. Speaker. So I rise to support this report, Mr. Speaker, because as a county government, Mr. Speaker, we need to move forward, Mr. Speaker. The moment we come here and dance and do catwalkings here, Mr. Speaker, we'll be doing disservice to the His Excellency, the Governor, Mr. Speaker. We want to support the nominees of the Governor, Mr. Speaker, and ensure that we give them, Mr. Speaker, the honorable ladies and gentlemen who will assist in, Mr. Speaker, in implementation of the work, Mr. Speaker. You see, Mr. Speaker, we are in the second quarter of our financial year, Mr. Speaker, and there is nothing which has been executed, Mr. Speaker. And I want to say, Mr. Speaker, and I this honorable house, Mr. Speaker.
Order, honorable members. Order. Let's give time to the honorable member to order. Continue, honorable.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, protect me, Mr. Speaker, from these honorable members, Mr. Speaker. I was saying, Mr. Speaker, as we are supporting the administration of the governor, Mr. Speaker, and because we are supporting Mr. Speaker, we need to genuinely support him, Mr. Speaker, and approve for him the ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Speaker, who will assist him in implementing the works, Mr. Speaker. You realize, Mr. Speaker, when the governor appeared in this house, Mr. Speaker, when he was doing an opening speech, Mr. Speaker, one of the things he said, Mr. Speaker, and I want to quote Mr. Speaker, he said, Mr. Speaker, in few days, Mr. Speaker, he said, in few days, I will be sending names of men and women, and that I have considered to help me execute my mandate at the county executive committee members, county secretary, and chief officers. I believe that will be your first call on oversight role, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Order, honorable members. Order, there is order, honorable members. Sergeant at Arms, what is going on here? Order. The majority, what is going on? Order. This is a house of order. Now you are forming groups in the house. And the standing orders are very clear that you consult, but you consult not loudly, in a voice, of course, that cannot affect our proceedings. Thank you so much. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was continuing to reiterate, Mr. Speaker, the commitment, Mr. Speaker, of the governor working with the assembly, Mr. Speaker. And I was quoting, Honorable Speaker, the governor's speech when he appeared in this house, Mr. Speaker. And he read in his speech, Mr. Speaker, that in few days I'll be sending names of names of men and women that I have considered to help me execute my mandate at the county executive committee members, county secretary, and chief officers. He further said, I believe that will be your first call on oversight role. I guarantee you that I have compiled a list of passionate and hardworking people with the constitutional thresholds who may be humble in means but rich in ideas, Mr. Speaker. So in order to support the governor, Mr. Speaker, we need to approve this honorable ribbon, Mr. Speaker, so that the governor can get his team and assemble his team to execute the mandate, Mr. Speaker, because our governor was voted in with a lot of expectation, Mr. Speaker. The more we dilal here, Mr. Speaker, we will be disadvantaging, and we will not be supporting governor. We will be acting here as if we love the governor and supporting. But at the end of the day, if this report will not see the light of the day, Mr. Speaker, these people will be doing the service to the Honorable His Excellency the Governor. So I want to ask the Honorable House, Mr. Speaker, to support the report the way it is, so that the Governor can continue and execute his work, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to further.
Finalize, please. Finalize.
Let me finalize, Mr. Speaker. And I, the Honorable House, let's oppose the report, Mr. Speaker, the way it is, and so that the governor can continue to swear into the county executive and roll out the works in the ground, because we have a lot of expectation and we need the works to be executed. Thank you, and I support the report the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to give to two people, and then I will give to the mover of the motion to reply. The Honorable, Honorable Albert, you want to make a contribution?
Yes, 30 seconds. For 30 seconds.
All right, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will start by saying that I've analyzed this report, and I've noticed that justice was done to 8 nominees, and injustice was done to 2 CCs and 1 county secretary. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm saying so because the County Government Act is very clear that, and allow me to read.
You say it
before you put the question. Before you put the question, okay. Mr. Speaker.
All right, a minute then.
The County Government Act says that Section 35(3).
Yeah.
That when it comes to employment of CCs, what should be seen is somebody should be a Kenyan citizen, of which the 2 are Kenyan citizen. Somebody should hold at least a first degree from a university, of which the 2, they have the same thing. At least number 3 is that they satisfy the requirement of Chapter 6, of which the report is not disputing. And then when it comes to experience, all of them have enough experience. But now you have just used the word knowledge to kill them. Mr. Speaker, that is not fair. So I was requesting that just allow us understanding order number 65 and 63A to do the amendments. And then after that, everything will proceed well. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, we can request also that we use the 63 somewhere there, standing order 63 somewhere there, that we postpone this session until next week, and then we do further consultation.
Thank you so much, the honourable member.
So are you giving me that opportunity to do the amendment?
No. Please take your seat. Please take your seat. Please take your seat. Honourable members, we've got to proceed. And I had already given a directive as the chair that we have one report in this house. Report on vetting of the nominees for the appointment of officers of county executive committee members and county secretary. I've already pronounced my name, I've already pronounced myself on the matter of the 2 nominees plus the county secretary. And therefore, the discussion right now should be only on this report. So I will not give you, if you want to talk about something that is not about this report, whether you support or whether you don't support. Those are the only 2 things that we are expecting from here. So I want to give to the Honorable Isma to come and. No, Honorable Isma.
On whether to reject or.
Yes, on whether
I reject the report in totality. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I reject this report. Because why do you bring a report in this house and you refuse to amend? That's the question. So I reject in totality. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The Honorable will be taking it to the Honorable Dominic. 30 seconds.
The Honorable Speaker, with due respect, I want to request that we review your decision. And I want to request that you don't block us from doing the amendment.
Order, Honorable Dominic.
Number 2.
Order. Your comments are out of order. Order, please take your seat. Order. And I have, honorable members, as I give you to come and contribute, on the matters that I've pronounced myself, please do not revisit. Please do not revisit. On the matters that I've pronounced myself. The Honorable Philip.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. And actually, honorable members,
honorable members, let's listen.
Protect me, Mr. Speaker. There is a lot of noise, Mr. Speaker.
Order, honorable
and
members.
I want to make a very important message here, Mr. Speaker. Before I second or reject the motion, Mr. Speaker, I would wish maybe Mr. Speaker has read County Government Act Section 44, 2C, and Section 58A, Mr. Speaker, on actually the procedures that was actually folded, Mr. Speaker. I would wish maybe the interpretation, to ask for the interpretation from the House, Mr. Speaker, that if one, Dr. Wesley Bor, Mr. Speaker, who has actually been sacrificed in this House, Mr. Speaker, because of the procedure that was not followed, Mr. Speaker, that is not his mistake, Mr. Speaker. You see, he's just a candidate He tried as much as possible, Mr. Speaker, to follow the law.
Order, Honorable Philip.
There is an interpretation I'm seeking, Mr. Speaker.
And that is what I said. Please take your seat, because you are going back to a ruling already that has been made.
Thank you, Mr.
At this point in time, order, honorable members. I will shortly, Honorable Paul Chirchir, who is the mover of the motion. I'll be giving to the Honorable. I want to give to the Honorable Kibet, and then I'll give it to the mover of the motion to reply, and then I'll put the question. Order, Honorable Member. Order.
Okay.
Order.
Thank you,
Order.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
Use your mic properly.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I raise, and before...
Continue. Order, members, and order.
What I want to seek from you, Mr. Speaker, sir, this, as we say, this is the House of Rules and Procedures. I see now, this thing we are talking about now is so emotive. That's why you see certain terms are coming closer, because there is something we are suspecting. So I want to request you, Mr. Speaker, sir, to postpone this thing. We discuss tomorrow or the other day.
Order. The mover.
Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to finish this.
Order, the mover of the motion, please reply to the motion. And order, honorable members, please. Order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
I wish to thank the Honorable House for supporting the motion.
Honorable members.
And with the approval of the report, Mr. Speaker, sir, the governor will be able to appoint the 8 CCs so that work begins immediately, Mr. Speaker, sir. I thank the honorable members for a job well done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you so much, honorable members. Honorable members, I now rise to put the question. Order, honorable members, that this House approve the report of the Appointment Committee on the vetting of nominees for position of County Executive Committee members and County Secretary pursuant to Public Appointments County Assembly Approval Act number 5 of 2017. Will as many of the opinions say aye? Will many of the contrary opinions say nay? The ayes have it.